Hey, listener, thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Jock and Nerd podcast, and you are in for a treat. This is going to be a giant Marvel Cinematic Universe Geek Fest. We talk the Defenders, we're going to talk Inhumans, and then we're going to review the latest entry into the MCU, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Geek Boner.
Plus, we got some fun audio clips to share with you and a hilarious email from a new listener. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Saturday, May 6th, 2017. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. We jockin', we nerdin'. We funny, disturbing. We jockin', we nerdin'. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We jockin', we nerdin'. We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. I'm jockin', we nerdin'. We spoiler alert.
Oh, hello, listener. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the one and only Jock and Nerd podcast.
Jock and Nerd.
My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And Anthony's in studio, old school. Anthony, I can't remember the last time you were in the room with me.
I don't like being in rooms with you, especially with the door closed. You get really weird.
I'll tell you what, you smell a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know.
Get your hand off my lap.
That's not my hand. Also joining us, of course, is our puppet friend, Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
What's going on, dudes? How's it going?
Whoa.
Rugs, you feeling okay? You sound like you're a little off tonight.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Okay. Okay, that's enough of the gag. We're down one puppet, but we're plus one ginger. It's the ginger geek himself, Matt Delhauer. And you do a killer Rugs impersonation, Matt. How's it?
And I mean, let's be honest, trading off a ginger and a puppet, it's about an even break.
It is really about the same. Now, we just need to get a ginger puppet on the show. And
No, that's evil.
Yeah.
That's like ventriloquist dummy level evil.
That is diabolical. The world will
that's
explode.
true. That ginger puppet would probably be possessed by the devil and take over. If you're a new listener, thanks for checking us out. This is the Jock and Nerd podcast, where you get a show every week if you subscribe for free, where we geek out about comic books, superhero-related things, movies, TV shows, when comic books and pop culture collide.
Absolutely no jock stuff.
No jock stuff.
Ever.
Occasionally. Nobody seems to press back.
No.
So we're just going to continue.
I think we've found our niche, and it's not the jocks.
Listen, if you are a jock and you found this show, I apologize for misleading you with our title.
Jock and Nerd.
If you've not lost your virginity yet, you're probably listening to this show.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, shit.
Wait a minute. I love these listeners, and I think you're
I'm patronizing the listener
Yeah, a
again?
little bit.
He physically loves these listeners.
You do.
I love each and every. I love you, listener.
If you live in your mom's basement, you probably listen to this show.
Listen, but you will get a jock perspective on
And
geek
you
things.
you probably drink out of like a juice box still.
Capri Sun, does that count?
Like you're
Ah,
dancing,
shit.
like Ted style, like dancing in front of the TV, like watching like old school MTV and just like drinking out of a juice box.
You just described my late teens and early 20s.
That is you. I might have said this already on the show.
And now that we are down to one listener
Yes.
who didn't turn us off yet.
Thanks for
Hi, Kevin.
Thanks for sticking with us. And happy Free Comic Book Day, everybody. I have not gone to the store yet to pick up my free comic books. Delhauer, what'd you do for Free Comic Book Day?
I went down to my local place, Bob's Collectibles in Vernon, New Jersey.
How's Bob doing?
Now that you all know where I live and where I tend to shop for comics,
We'll
I
find
have
him.
to leave again. Bob is doing all right. I was talking to my buddy John, who works down there, and they seem to be doing well. They had some guys in from the 501st out there doing the whole Star Wars cosplay thing. They had some guys doing like Magic the Gathering. They had a bunch of different things going on. I picked up a couple of the free comics.
Nice.
I bought a couple blind bags
Nice.
of old Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't get anything too notable, but I think I got like, what was it, Uncanny X-Men number 500.
Oh.
If that's a big thing or not, I don't know.
I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Okay, so last weekend I was in Las Vegas.
That's right. Yeah.
So this weekend I've like been just going through withdrawal. So I had work till like 11.
Yeah.
I had a margarita at work because it was Cinco de Mayo. Put
Yeah.
way too much tequila in there.
Oh, boy.
Then debated if I should go to a strip club.
Okay.
Then decided, no, you shouldn't do that. Your wallet is hurting right now. Decided to go to my local burrito place, grab a chorizo burrito.
Yeah.
Ate that, went to sleep, woke up at 10:30 for my dental appointment, shat my brains out, and now I'm here. Bro, do you even podcast?
And that is the Jocks, a day in the life of the Jock.
Happy Free Comic Book Day.
Happy Free Comic Book Day. Look, this show, listener, here's what we got. We got a lot of Marvel, geek-tastic Marvel news. We are going to review Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and this is probably the soonest we've been able to review one of these things.
In less than 24 hours.
In less than 24 hours, which means we had to make a couple of sacrifices, one being the Rug Boy. He hasn't seen the movie yet.
Yeah, we cut off his head and just sacrificed him to the sovereign.
to the lords of the galaxy.
To Aisha and all the Celestials. And the second being, Free Comic Book Day last year. We had 2 great shows where we went and hung out at Pastimes. And we kind of had to bypass that today because, like Anthony just said, we both had to work real late. And there's just hasn't been any time. And I can't wait to get into this movie. So that's what we can get. But before that, we have a couple of pieces of MCU news to discuss. Let's get to it.
Hit the button.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Thanks, Anthony. I was waiting for directions because if you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, if I'm not here, you don't know how to operate
I
things.
freeze up. Yeah.
I am obviously the technical genius behind all of this.
Then there's just like 20 minutes of crying on mic, and it's
and then we have to snuggle. He's got to console me. It's a whole thing.
I'm the man behind the scenes, and you're the face of the show.
Absolutely. I contribute nothing.
No wonder we have no listeners.
Listen, let's follow up. Oh, by the way, if you're still listening, you want to get in touch with the show, all you got to do is visit jockandnerd.com/contact. All the various means of contacting us and interacting and being part of the show, you will find on that page, whether it's a tweet, a Facebook post, or your voice. You can send us a voicemail, and we'll play it. I want to follow up with something we mentioned last episode, which is important to the scripted TV and movie works that we love so much, and that was the impending writer's strike. It seemed like it was 50-50. We didn't know. It was very tenuous. Well, good news. It appears the writer's strike has been averted for now, which is great for not only us enjoying the content, but for people who work in the industry not being laid off for 100 days, maybe like it was last time. So here's what the agreement came down to. They said a full statement from the WGA, which is the Writers Guild Association, and this deal is with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. In it,
you're going to read this whole fucking thing?
I'm going to read what they got. They made minimum gains across the board, as well as contribution increases to their health care plan. They also expanded the protections and options and exclusivity. Here's the neat, important thing. We also made unprecedented gains on the issue of short seasons in television, winning a definition, which has never before existed in our MBA, of 2.4 weeks of work for each episodic feat. Any work beyond that span will now require additional payment for hundreds of writer producers. So they won 15% increase in pay TV residuals, 15 million increase in high budget straight to video residuals, and for the first time ever, residuals for comedy variety writers in pay TV. All good stuff. They also got parental leave, which is important, obviously. So that's very good. And I just wanted to add to that something John Bellotti sent us, because Bellotti works painting sets for TV shows. He's in the industry. This would have put him out of work, and all his friends, everyone he works with. You think about, there's no script, there's no production.
I'm glad you said that, because up to this point I wasn't paying attention. I was reading what Jay Cutler had to say about the Chicago Bears.
Who gives a fuck about smoking Cutler? Why do people even care? Did they get rid of him?
Yeah.
Move on with your lives, people.
Now, good thing you mentioned Bellotti, or else I just would have tuned this entire segment out.
So Bellotti sent a message saying, like I knew what happened, writer's strike averted. The studios knew they were going to make a deal with the WGA. They knew exactly what they were doing to the writers, and we're just waiting for them to speak up at contract time. It's like any other corporation. They try to get away with as much as they can for as long as they can. Next up, the SAG contract in mid-June. So good news for everyone working and for us to enjoy stuff and not being... I was a little bit worried. Dollahauer, were you worried that this would happen at all?
Actually, I don't know if I was too worried about it, in the fact that I think a lot of the studios and everyone kind of learned their lesson back in 2007, the last time that there was the strike, because you saw a lot of things tank because of that.
They lost a lot of money. They lost a lot of money, too.
Wolverine Origins was good, though.
Oh.
Teaser for next
What the Fuck Happened.
But I know I have a friend who works in the local 52 out in New York, who actually, he's a set builder for a lot of TV shows and stuff. So I have a feeling at some point he and John probably have crossed paths
Probably
somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been the same thing with no writers. They're not making anything. He wouldn't have been working.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the industry, they work job to job.
Yeah.
It is legitimately, if you don't have something set up, you're not making money.
Yeah, I would love to hear from Bilotti. If you want to send us a message, like, what did he do during that last 100 days? If he was working in the industry, like
his last 100
his
days.
last 100 days that are how it affected him. But I mean, I think it just brings up the point. We forget that
He went and picked daisies.
how many tulips he tiptoed through the tulips.
I read a lot of books.
We forget though how many people.
I
this-
looked at
this would
pictures of cats.
affected. Well, he's a cat guy too, so he's probably like, I should get this cat and this cat. No, we forget about how many people this would actually affect in terms of working and living. So very cool. Okay, let's talk about another really piece of exciting footage we got out. And this,
I just got to interject.
Yeah,
I feel so much better coming in here on a Saturday into studio, not being hungover.
really,
Yeah,
that's good.
I feel like I'm like back.
Good. I'm glad we were missing you because like the last couple of times you jump on hungover.
Yeah, that's
You're
it's just
hurting.
Bad.
It's
just
hard.
bad.
It's hard to focus.
It's hard. It's so hard. I'm just thinking about water the entire time.
Well, thanks for being a responsible adult,
Yeah,
Anthony.
thanks.
Good
No problem,
adulting
man.
on
No problem.
you.
29 years, I'm still learning.
You guys, Marvel's Defenders on Netflix. We have our first full trailer.
Geek Boner.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so we got that teaser in the elevator, but now this is an official, legit, full trailer. I'm sure you guys have watched it over and over again. Let's get into what you guys think. What do we like? Del Hauer, you are the guest. Why don't you kick it off?
Well, I forget who it was that commented with it on the community page, but there was the comment of in this teaser we've gotten better action out of Iron Fist than we did in the entire season.
That was
that he
Ron,
had.
not Ron Hans with an accurate comment.
Ron Hans.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Ron. No, I thought it was great. Like, I was really excited, and it's funny because for me as a writer, there are points where like what I'll notice with things is like, how do they organically bring these characters together?
Yep.
And so I'm glad to see that it doesn't seem like they're forcing it with like, the two of them run into each other on a street or something and like, I'm Daredevil, well I'm the Iron Fist or whatever. I mean, he still calls himself the immortal Iron Fist, but
To which Luke Cage has that great line. The what? That's all he's got to say.
I'm excited. It looks like it's going to be really fun. It looks like it's going to potentially have the biggest, most badass hallway fight scene yet.
You got to have a hallway fight scene. That's a contractual thing, and to varying degrees of success in these series so far, some better than others. But this is the Daredevil showrunner, so I think we're going to get an awesome fight scene.
Oh,
hallway
good,
fight scene.
good.
Yeah.
So that means they're probably going to bring in the choreographer for that one, too,
Absolutely.
which is exactly what they needed.
Yes.
I look forward to seeing them have to take on
Sigourney Weaver.
Elektra.
Oh, yeah, and Elektra.
I have a feeling Elektra, I'm guessing this is going to bring, light to the whole black sky concept and everything like that. And I know we were talking a little bit trying to say, like, what do we think Sigourney Weaver's character is going to end up being? So I'm looking forward to speculating on that for a couple months more.
Yeah, they said, but
I'm still saying Madam Hydra,
see,
though.
but they've said that this is an original character. Yeah.
Yeah, but they've said these things before.
That's true. It could be a misdirect. Anthony, your thoughts?
I got to agree with Del Nerdhauer and Ronald Hans and everyone else that's said they like this. I quite enjoyed this. I do have to point out that even though Iron Fist looks a lot better, in that scene, in the hallway scene, if you catch him...
Oh, my God. He's a little goofy looking.
Right before he throws that punch off the wall, he's like bouncing back sideways, like side to side, and he looks goofy as fuck. But I don't mean to pick on Iron Fist right away. So it looks good. All the interactions look really good. The best part about Marvel, and it looks like they've nailed this in this show too, is just watching the characters interact, because they just understand their characters so well. And that was the best thing about like the Avengers films. It's the best thing whenever there's cameos from other characters, is just seeing them bounce off each other. And you've got 4 distinct personalities in this that I just can't wait to see literally just talk to one another. Like the action looks good. It looks probably better than anything they've done. I mean, the earthquake look.
Yeah, there was one shot where the whole ground is shaking.
Yeah, that like I wasn't expecting
What the
something
hell
like
is
that
going
out
on
of
there?
a Netflix show.
Yeah.
So that looks like they're really ramping it up for this one. But I'm just excited to see them just sit around on a fucking at a Chinese restaurant, eat Chinese, and fucking talk to one another.
Yeah, I mean, they're giving us the Avengers on Netflix. You got a nice tight 8 episodes, so it shouldn't drag. I like how it seems like they're pairing off the people in the beginning to meet. Like Daredevil meets Jessica Jones, and obviously Danny Rand meets Luke Cage. They're following different parts of the same case that all kind of lead them together. I did chuckle when Matt Murdock shows up as a lawyer because he's not the very best lawyer you could have from what they've shown us. He's just not very good.
Well, and especially in the fact that in the Jessica Jones season, she was doing work for a high-powered law firm.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole season.
Why wouldn't Jerry Hogarth come to her aid?
Well, I think it's because Hogarth hates her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I would think, if anything, you would want Foggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't see Foggy in this. We don't see Karen Page, and we don't see
You don't need to see everybody.
Punisher, but they might not even be.
I don't think Punisher's going to be in this.
Those three may be.
I'm pretty sure they confirmed Punisher.
Okay,
won't be.
so and Karen, we saw Karen filming the Punisher, so maybe we don't see them.
I
until
have
Punisher.
one minor nitpick.
Yeah.
Simone Missick's character, the Misty Knight.
Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of Luke Cage, she quit the police force and was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with working.
Could be a flashback
in the midst of
could be.
But this
She did
trailer
quit 'cause-
starts.
Yeah, because she went all rogue and on her own.
This trailer starts
Yeah, I was
with her
gonna say,
being a police officer again.
I thought she was deciding she was going to become a vigilante PI or something like that.
It could be a flashback. It does start with her grilling
I don't
Jessica
think it's a
Jones.
flashback.
But I love the stacks of files they have on Jessica. They got a lot of paperwork. It's a comedy. You mentioned the Luke Cage Iron Fist interaction. I think that's going to be a huge part. I think actually Luke Cage is going to elevate Iron Fist. I hope so.
Although
Jesus.
I don't have much faith still in Finn Jones, but luckily he's not asked to carry the show. The interaction that I really enjoyed was Jessica Jones and Matt Murdock. The part where she's like, "You look stupid."
It's like, it's your scarf.
He's like, "It's your scarf."
So now we know it's her scarf. He probably just grabbed and put it over his head. I love how they mimic the shot of Luke getting punched in the head, where in Luke Cage, the guy's hand just gets demolished. In this one, he actually does some damage to Luke Cage, showing you how much power is in the glowy fist thing. But yeah, I agree. I think Finn Jones, Danny Rand is going to work much better as a supporting side character in terms of
just be a brat and let
Just
Luke
be a
Cage
brat.
let Luke Cage just
school you.
school you.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's what it's going to be, is that Luke Cage is basically going to have to play babysitter.
Right.
But I also love the fact that when they have the little voiceover from Stick
Yeah.
describing them as a team,
Yeah.
his description of Danny Rand is just a kid with a glowing fist.
Kid with a glowing fist. Yeah, you see Stick, you see Elektra. I
You'd
cannot
actually,
wait
I don't
for
know if you
this.
guys noticed. You probably did because you're nerds. But that hallway fight scene, Elektra is just walking slowly from behind while they're all dealing with.
Oh, she's in the back?
Watch it.
Yeah, she's coming up in the background, and then during the big cuts that they have of a lot of the fight scenes, there is a point where she is legitimately throwing Matt Murdock
through the glass.
wall.
Yeah, through the glass window. Oh, you see Luke Cage punch someone through the wall. I love when they punch people through the wall. They should do that all the time. They did that a lot in Daredevil, and it was great. August 18th of this year, you will get to binge all 8 episodes of The Defenders.
Geek Boner.
Oh, I
8
can't
episodes
wait.
too. That's key.
Yeah.
That's good.
Also, I'm wondering what the color palette will be for this series. Looking at the white hallways, so far we've had every series kind of has their main color tone. And it'll be interesting to see how they light this one and how they set dress this one to reflect. The purple for Jessica Jones, the red for Daredevil, the gold kind of for Luke Cage, and then the green yellow kind of thing for Iron Fist. But I hope they keep that going. I love their color.
Did you actually end up finishing Iron Fist, Matt?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Wow, that's courageous.
Yeah,
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I know.
It's a tough one.
I'm glad I got to watch it. I'm forgetting it. Let's move on to the Defenders, because now it's just a big, long, boring setup for fucking Iron Fist and Defenders.
Well, I hope we're going to find out what the fuck that pit was about in season 2.
Yeah, I hope so.
I read some maybe spoilers that pit is what brings these 4 characters together. That's when they finally all get together. There's something going on with that pit.
Well, obviously it's something tied to the hand,
Right.
and I think it's specifically tied to whatever these resurrection rites they're doing for Elektra was.
we saw what happened to Ward Meacham when they brought him back. He kind of became immortal, and couldn't die. So that'll be cool to see if the same thing applies to Elektra.
Or no, Harold, right?
Harold Meacham.
Was the one
Sorry,
that
yeah,
brought back?
Harold.
Come on.
I was going to say, one of the things that I had as a nitpick
Yeah.
about Iron Fist really quick was in that second to last or the last episode was I love that when Ward is trying to help them take down his dad brains him with a golf club.
Yeah, from behind.
Drags him into another room unconscious, assuming at this point while I was watching it, dead.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that seems like a really great, little bit for his character. He dies trying to say, oh no, he's not dead. He gets up, there's blood running down the back of his head, but apparently he's not even concussed.
No, he wasn't hurt at all. That's right.
He's
and
quite
just
lucid
fine enough
thinking.
he's very lucid and still has the ability to properly aim and fire a gun.
Yeah, I remember noticing that. I was like, he just took a golf club to the head. Why are you getting up now, you fucking motherfucker?
You fucking motherfucker.
You fucking motherfucker. But, yeah, though, look, I also hope maybe Sigourney Weaver's character is something embodied as in human form. Like, would that be too outlandish for the street level
Inhuman?
team? Not inhuman, maybe like an evil devil force or some kind of the beast. There's mentions
Yeah, I
of
was going to say the only thing I could think would be the beast of the hand, but I think they're really building on the idea that that's going to be Elektra.
Okay. Man, so she's either the CEO of IGH or some shit.
I kind of find
She's the Thanos of this Netflix series. It's all kind of been leading up to
Elektra?
her. No, Sigourney Weaver's
okay.
character.
No.
No?
She's not. I mean, the Thanos would be like she'd have to have shown up.
Yeah, they would have been sowing in seeds about her.
Right.
I mean, they could have been, but that means this is a really tight-knit secret.
Yeah.
Instead of like actually being like, oh, don't worry, Sigourney Weaver's coming.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting, like me as the casual fan of the Defenders, other than like kind of Daredevil, I always thought the hand was just a Daredevil thing. It's interesting to me that they've incorporated Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist now into like, oh, they're all fighting the hand.
Well, I mean, it's a great organization to have as your
Is it?
antagonist.
Really? What about the Foot?
No, the foot. The hand has better health benefits from what I believe.
The Foot Clan though battles turtles.
But the hand has an awesome
And
401k
they have
package,
Shredder.
dental and vision.
It's true. I mean, that would be interesting if you had Shredder versus Madame Gao.
Oh yeah.
I would watch that fight.
Yeah.
You know who they can't hold a candle to is the elbow. Those motherfuckers are brutal.
Well, that's a joint.
The joint.
It's where two bones meet, man.
Come on.
That's right. It's strong yet flexible. Okay, look, let's move on to something. We can be accused of being Marvel fanboys occasionally. If you listen to the show, we love lots of things Marvel, but right now we're going to have to be very critical and bag on Marvel for this next thing because
It's funny. It's just a photo.
it's just a photo, but boy, does it have thousands of words. And what we're talking about is a photo of the cast of the Inhumans TV show that is coming to ABC in September. Brought to you by IMAX and Marvel Television Productions. So it's going to be in IMAX, the first 2 episodes, and then the rest, I think 10 or 8, will be on TV. So, look, these are great characters. If you know anything about the Inhumans, they're fascinating characters, allegorical, to the level of mutants to society, very similar. The photo are giving us the main characters. You got Black Bolt, Medusa, Crystal, Maximus, Gorgon, and Karnak.
Which one is who?
So from left to right, the guy all the way on the left is Gorgon.
Okay.
The Asian dude with the shit on his face, that's Karnak.
They made him Karnak. Wow.
And he
Juntao.
Yeah, he looks
Juntao from Rush Hour.
that's yeah.
Where's Juntao?
The face stuff is like Karnak in the comics. The dude in the middle, obviously, Black Bolt to his right with the fucking worst wig. We'll get to that in a second. Is
Medusa.
Serinda Swan as Medusa. Then you got Crystal to her right and all the way in the back, Maximus.
That's Maximus. Okay. I didn't imagine Maximus being like that.
Okay,
All right.
so I don't even know where to start. Let's start with Maximus, because apparently this dude, he's from Game of Thrones, and he looks exactly like he does in Game of Thrones. Like, they didn't even bother changing his look or his outfit.
Right down to the all-black outfit.
Yeah, because Maximus wears a white suit in the comic books to set him apart.
Right.
This is pretty much, he walked off the set of Game of Thrones, came into this picture.
Let me start
Okay.
with Maximus.
Yes.
Not as critical, but I will say that he's not what I imagined. Maybe he'll act better than what this portrays, but I imagine Maximus as this like squirrely.
He's like the Loki.
Yeah, he's very Loki-esque and like just a squirrely looking guy. And this guy looks just too pretty.
He looks dirty.
Have you watched any of Game of Thrones?
Nope.
Anthony?
No. Look, I love
Okay.
that Imran answers for me.
Anthony says no.
Based on him in Game of Thrones and the character that he played, his character was like a very sadistic,
Okay.
spoiled child type of character who like he killed people for the fun of it, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
I think he will do well
Okay.
acting the part. I just the costuming of it seems very odd to me. I don't know why they decided to make this very like outer space medieval look for it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Crystal.
Is Crystal the sister of?
Yes, sister of Medusa is the girl on the right, and fairly comic accurate costume, but it still looks like just simple cosplay. The weird thing that's going to happen. So if you see, I'll have these, by the way, listener, I'll have photos in our show notes, jockandnerd.com/165. Crystal has kind of this black band in her hair in the comics, right? So in this photo, you see it, but it's dyed. But when her hair is moving, how shitty is that going to look? Random black things, it's just a weird choice.
Honestly,
I think it'll be fine.
yeah, I didn't notice that actually at all until you pointed it out.
I mean, decent costume.
I thought it was the lighting.
Yeah, no, that is like a black. That's like a dyed black strip of hair.
I mean, she looks like she's just going out to like party.
Yeah, she looks like she's going out to a rave or something.
I wouldn't go to the rave.
No raving?
No, that
Okay.
and Ron, you're way too old.
Vegas? Yeah, I'm old. I don't know.
I think it's more just a club going look.
Rave would be different. Rave would be
Clubbing.
much brighter colors.
That's just the Molly, Anthony. Nobody's wearing those bright colors, actually.
Shit.
Okay, so Gorgon, whatever. He's got like a big shawl on. Karnak's got the shit on his face. Let's talk about Black Bolt. We're saving Medusa for last. Black Bolt, while the markings on his jacket are pretty cool because they do mimic his costume. And in the comics, he kind of has wings. I kind of wish they use his helmet. I don't know why they didn't put the helmet on him. I don't think they're going to put the helmet on him.
He needs the helmet.
Yeah.
Marvel's had this weird thing, and sometime, like for a while, that they just, whenever they do photos from set or like these like promotional images, they take the helmet off because they want you to see who's acting in the role.
Anson Mount, but
who the fuck
who
is
the
this
fuck
guy?
cares about Anson Mount? I want to see a
funny
fucking Black
thing
Bolt
is-
helmet.
I did not recognize him at all because I remember him from Hell on Wheels.
Okay.
In Hell on Wheels, he had hair down to his shoulders and a full beard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he, like, the moment I saw this picture, I was like, wait, who the hell is that? They're like, oh, it's the guy from Hell on Wheels. I went, oh, that's why I don't recognize him.
So it's the showrunner, Scott Buck, who he's an Iron Fist showrunner.
Okay.
So things are starting to connect a little bit. Maybe he talked a little bit about how Black Bolt is going to communicate, because if you don't know, listener, Black Bolt's weapon is his voice. He can whisper and pretty much destroy a city or a building. Like, all he has to do is utter one word and all hell breaks loose. Now, how do you do a part? How do you write a guy on TV where the guy can't talk? He says, I think everyone's going to be very pleased and excited by Anson Mount as Black Bolt. We're not doing voiceover. If you read the comics, you see Black Bolt does find a way to communicate to people, but he's also a very enigmatic character, as well as he keeps a lot inside. That's part of what's so fascinating about him, is that a lot of the times we don't know what he's thinking. I also saw somewhere they may use like sign language kind of movements maybe for him to talk.
I don't want sign language.
Yeah, that's going to be, so I'm really curious to see how they deal with his powers and whether they create like a sound room or some space where in Adelan where he can talk.
My first
like in their
thought
head.
with his costume, besides that he's not wearing the mask, is it looks okay, but it also looks like something out of the 2000 X-Men. Like, he looks
dude,
like fucking Wolverine. Wearing
All
leather.
of it looks very cosplay / TV. Well, TV, but just cosplay. Very cosplay. Which brings
But
us, yeah.
It looks very network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised because they putting all this money into the IMAX cameras and give us shitty costumes.
Before we get to Medusa, this
Yes.
was one of my worries with this show.
Yes.
Is that I don't think the platform is ABC for this.
You think they're out of their budget
I think this should have been on like a movie or something.
This was supposed to be a
It was
movie
supposed to be a
announced
movie,
way
but
back in like 2009.
I understand though that like the Inhumans isn't exactly the biggest name either. So
I think
they're in a weird spot.
And I think they tried to use Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to make them a little bit more popular. And I think more people do know the word Inhumans now, but still, it's not a huge property.
And I think we're seeing already my fears come to
Yeah,
life.
I kind of wish they were still just doing the
not
movie.
this episode, this picture.
Which brings us to Medusa. Holy shit, the internet's gone nuts, and I you have to agree with largely everything they said. So in the comics, Medusa, she's this voluptuous, very like tall, Amazon-sized woman, buxom, with a huge body, full body red hair that's alive, that she can control. And then this is her main weapon as she grabs people.
It's quite silly.
It's silly, but, a lot like Mr. Fantastic's stretching powers, drawn the right way. It works in comic books. It is silly, though.
Mr. Fantastic still
That is also silly.
Never worked for me. But all right,
It's
keep
silly,
going.
right? First of all, the wig is the worst fucking wig I've ever seen. The shittiest party wig, city wig. Like, couldn't they have found a full red, full-haired...
I don't even think the wig is the worst part.
No?
I think the costume just looks like straight out of Party USA. Party City or
Party
whatever.
City.
Yeah, like whatever that fucking local chain costume.
Also, and not to be like a male chauvinist or anything, her boobs look weird. What is the deal? Like, it looks very strange. I don't know if it's the photo, if they Photoshopped this, it's the dress.
No, it's definitely the costume.
Delhauer, what are your thoughts on Medusa?
So, looking at it, I agree. Like the costume looks like it was straight out of like what is the deal with the leather like shoulder collar?
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
the pleather,
Yeah.
the weird pleather thing going on.
This is another thing that I agree with Anthony. Looks like it would have been like in the first X-Men movie.
Yeah.
The wig just it's the coloring of it isn't even the color. It fits to the comic kind of, but it really does. It's obviously not her hair,
And it's too orange. It should be more red value than the orange value.
But I mean, ultimately, and yeah, it's the way the costume lays doesn't seem to do anything for her.
It's not very
Those
flattering. Yeah.
And I think it's specifically because of the weird shoulder pad things. Like it looks so 80s. It makes her body shape look so odd.
Yeah.
That it's just like nothing about it looks right.
I mean, they got the purple of the dress, kind of like that's the purple she wears all the time. But wow, that is an odd. I mean, this looks like it's on the Sci-Fi Network, not even below network television.
It looks sci-fi.
Which is
Holy
upsetting because I've started watching the show The Expanse that they have on Sci-Fi.
crap. Yeah,
Like, and that looks
That's not bad.
like HBO quality.
yeah. The Expanse.
So
is
like
pretty good.
even Sci-Fi does fucking better than this at this point.
My thought on the community page where I wrote like it looks very networky. I think I was going to write that, and I was like, wait, it's going to be on a network.
It
So I
is.
was like,
It's supposed
it
to
should look that
networky.
way, but I was like, but this isn't what I expected. Like I thought that budgets were better. I didn't think that it would come off as TV, especially with the fact that they're putting the first two episodes on IMAX theaters.
That's the thing. They're
I
pimping
had
this.
assumed that they
Yeah.
were like going like really hard at this.
They're pimping this with. We got IMAX cameras. There'll be a theatrical release. But, probably a lot of the money will hopefully be put in those first two episodes, and then
Do you think they blew their load on the IMAX cameras and that's
possibly.
why everything else looks like garbage?
they'll fix it in post.
Well, I read that a lot of this show is just them in Hawaii, like that they get like
yeah.
something happens and they get stranded in Hawaii. So maybe they're just
Oh shit!
wasting their budget on exotic locales.
It's gonna
in
be like
Hawaii.
Lost with the Inhumans. Oh boy!
shit.
Well, I knew that they couldn't fucking do this on
Adelan.
There's
Yeah.
no way. There was no way that they were going to do this whole show on Adelan.
So obviously, Scott Buck said of animating Medusa's hair, it's very difficult. Even now, it's still a process. It takes quite a long time in post to make that effect work. We have some of the best visual effects people working on our show. We still haven't seen the final version of it. It's very much a work in progress.
I don't see how this doesn't come off as cheesy with her hair
Whoa.
on network TV.
It's going to take a very delicate hand to make it look not cheesy. The other thing I'm looking forward to,
Mr. Fantastic looks stupid on big screen doing his
yeah.
thing.
The other thing they haven't shown us that I'm looking forward to is Lockjaw, the giant transporting bulldog. So he's probably going to be a lot of fun. And
Well, it depends how they handle it. Like
yeah.
if they handle him like King Shark on Flash, and it's kind of like a wink, wink.
Oh,
like
shit.
he looks so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look how fucking ridiculous this is. Then it might work, but I don't know how they plan on handling it. Everyone looks so fucking serious in this photo.
I know. Well, we saw this, like they have a giant blue dog standing in, so he will be huge.
Yeah.
If that size is what they're going with, but I don't know.
I just don't see
We'll
like a big animated dog, like unless they're like it's tongue in cheek. Like how's that going to work on ABC?
I don't know.
I just want this to do well long enough that they can make a Miss Marvel show.
Yeah.
so that Lockjaw can then run around with her.
Yeah,
and
because
have fun again.
they're pals. She like walks the dog, and he will just disappear every so often. And people are like, "Where's your dog?" And she's like, "That's cool. He does that. He'll be back." So look, here, the thing is, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if it doesn't get picked up, which is still like really pretty much on the bubble, then this is their next show. They're starting this next season with on ABC.
They're doing this regardless.
Yeah. Now, in response to this, could draw in a lot of people with the cancellation of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., people who miss S.H.I.E.L.D. and want to see more Marvel on ABC. But let's see, September, we'll find out, and I'm sure we'll get. They put out a teaser. It just says dialogue and the logo. There's no footage, so we don't have any good looks yet. But God, I hope they fix this thing. Put him in a fucking helmet, Black Bolt. Okay, so look, that's it for the news. We're very excited to get to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. We're going to take a quick break, play some promos, and we'll be right back and geek out about Guardians.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hi there. This is Brett Stewart from Geek Cinema Society. Are you a film lover? Do you consider yourself a connoisseur of the silver screen? Well, Geek Cinema Society is a weekly roundtable program where each episode we touch on a film considered pivotal to geek culture. From Blade Runner to The Goonies to Mad Max, we dig into it all. Plus, our guest each week hasn't seen that week's film until the episode. Join me and my co-hosts, Nicole Davis and David Luzader, on a spectacularly fun journey that hits your podcast feed every Sunday. Available on Blazing Caribou Studios.
Hey, my name is Paul, and I'm not an animal expert.
I'm Donna, and I'm not an animal expert either.
And together we do a podcast about animals called Varmints.
Every week, we pick an animal, do a bunch of research on it, and bring you some interesting facts about that animal.
But we don't stop there. We talk about that animal in movies, TV, and other pop culture.
And we talk about whether or not the animal would make a tasty dish, and how intelligent we think that animal is on a scale of 1 to 10.
It's exactly like one of those fancy PBS nature documentaries.
Except not at all like that really in any way.
We're on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from, and we're at blazingcariboustudios.com.
Hey there, everyone. My name's Carlos.
And I'm Joe.
Are you wondering what Captain America has to say about fascism, what the Iron Giant has to do with communism, or whether or not George Bush is the real Batman?
Well, you are now. Have all your newfound questions answered on Thunder Smash, as Carlos and I, and a parade of guests, dive into the nitty-gritty of your favorite nerdy stories to find out what they have to say about life's big philosophies and ideas.
You can hear it all on www.thundersmash.com.
See you there.
And
All right, before we get to our review, I got to mention to the listener, if you've been enjoying the show, if you want to help out, if you want to give back, if we have moved you to increase your generosity for a donation, join our fan club. Just visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon, and it's a place where you can pledge to the show for a low monthly donation, and you get bonus content every week, every month. There's like 7 to 8 hours of Anthony's sex stories. You're gonna learn.
I'm going to add to that.
Oh yeah, you definitely will.
Oh, there's a part 2?
Oh no, yeah, you're gonna want to sign up to get this show's post show. Dal Howard, just wait. We have stories from Vegas.
I mean, I was in Vegas
coming up,
yeah.
which is
okay.
Great. So, Matt, you recently signed up for the Patreon post show. Give us a testimonial to the listeners. Help us sell this shit.
Just stroke our fucking cocks for a second. Just do it.
Just come onto our show and just tell us how great we are.
Yeah, just a little bit. No, look, seriously, are you enjoying the bonus content?
Oh no, I am.
That's
I am absolutely. Like I've been listening to a lot of like the bonus content stuff while I'm at work and stuff like that. So just, and it is just kind of hanging out sort of a thing. So it's like, Anthony immediately disappears after every show, and then it's 20 minutes of Imran and Rugboy talking about how they don't like the president and comic books aren't what they used to be.
Pretty much.
I got to provide context to that. So every time I'm recording the show, I'm at my parents' house.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 or 11 o'clock on a like Wednesday or Thursday night. And I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not going to sit around and talk to these old 40-year-old dudes about politics. Like, I got to go home.
Yeah. So look, we got you here in studio.
Or it's like a Friday night, which is even worse. And they want to like sit around and talk. And I'm like, God damn it,
I
I want to go out.
I do feel bad because Ruggs and I would just chat for hours, and Anthony, I'm like, we're cramping his style there. But okay, you are not. It's worth the price of admission, Delhauer.
The price of
The
admission.
Patreon.
What?
It's $1,
Right?
Like, come on.
Yeah, it's worth $1 a month, and it helps us.
And that's why I felt so bad for so long. Is I'm like, I come on this show, like I do everything I can to try and help out, but like I'm not going to pay $1. I'm a douchebag.
Look, it really helps. We're covering the hosting fees for the media files, and we just want to grow it, and we want to give you this bonus content. JockandNerd.com/Patreon.
If you don't have $1 a month, there's bigger problems.
What are you doing with your life?
There's bigger problems for you. You got to reevaluate things.
I mean, you literally.
How are you listening to podcasts if you're that poor?
Exactly. How are you paying your phone bill? Look, reach into your pocket.
That is a very good point. Like
Right.
if you are listening to a podcast, you either have like an iPhone or you got a computer. So
Listen,
you can afford things.
And podcast listeners statistically are very educated, and they make good money.
Technological savvy.
And they're technologically savvy.
Yeah.
So show us some love if you enjoyed the show. JockandNerd.com/Patreon. Let's get to our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Voluptuous Volume 2.
Voluptuous Volume 2. Of course, we go full spoilers here on the Jock and Nerd podcast, so let's get a little hit from Rug Boy.
Let's spoil some shit, Batman.
See, Ruggs is always here, even when he's not here.
Geekerific.
Let's start out like we said at the beginning of the show. This is the soonest we've been able to review a movie from its release date, but this movie has been out in the UK, overseas. It's made a bunch of money already, despite just opening in stateside like yesterday officially. So the domestic total already, this is the early numbers as of May 5th, $56 million. This had a $200 million production budget. It has made $167 million in the foreign box office. So worldwide, the movie's already made $223+ million in technically one day of domestic release. So it's made its money back, and now everything will be profit for it. So that's good. So
now they could just shut down and just take it out of theater.
Just turn it all off. But man, it made $100 million already last week. It was pretty impressive. So, and I think it's open to China.
It's opened.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was open over in UK a week already.
It was on Thursday. I think I read it was the biggest box office opening this year, beating out like the Fast movie and the Beauty and the Beast. So,
oh wow!
Yeah.
Fast and Furious made what, like $1 billion now? Over $1 billion?
I don't know.
Worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide.
So.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah,
Thursday
take that, Vin Diesel. You got beat by Vin Diesel.
You got beat by tiny baby Vin Diesel. So Rotten Tomatoes, 81%. It went down. It was at like 86.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Still high.
Still very good. Still keeps the fresh rating for MCU movies consistently
It's
up.
still another fresh rating for a Marvel film.
And of course, we'll just go over the cast real quick. Our main players. This one, again, directed by James Gunn and written by James Gunn. I think did he co-write the first one? I think he wrote more. He was more on this one.
I think he co-wrote the first one. I think what it was he kind of did most of the first one, and I think they just brought somebody in to like polish up things.
So, of course, you got returning Chris Pratt, Peter Quill, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax, Vin Diesel, the voice of Baby Groot, Bradley Cooper voicing Rocket, Michael Rooker as Yondu, Karen Gillian, Nebula, Palm Clementine, new to the cast as Mantis, Kurt Russell as Ego, Elizabeth Debicki as Aisha, and Sean Gunn getting a lot more screen time than just being Rocket's villain.
You
James Gunn's. I know. I want to save that some of the cameos as Sylvester Stallone as Stakar Ogard, and a couple other people we will get to. Let's start like we usually start these things. What do we like?
Well, just do initial
thoughts. Opening thoughts. I forgot how we even start these
you don't
things.
know. I mean, you just edit the show. You don't know shit.
I don't know what I'm doing. Anthony, why don't you go first?
Opening thought. Similar to what I put on the Patreon. Cheap plug for Patreon.
See, you get our initial reactions to movies if you sign up to the Patreon.
Initial thought, I was like 3/4 of the way through this film, and I'm like laughing the entire time. I'm like, what? Is this just a fucking sitcom? Like, is there any point to anything that's going on other than a joke? And then, like, once the reveal of Kurt Russell being evil, which wasn't all that, like, surprising, but because you knew there had to be some other villain in this. Once that happens and then the film turns around and kicks into high gear, I was just loving every moment of this. A lot of heart, a lot of family themes in this. Freaking Michael Rooker's character. I read an article on Birth Movies Death, and I completely agree. I think he's the fucking MVP of this film.
Yeah. It was a surprise.
Going from the first film where I was like, that character is just a joke, to like the end being like the dad and being Mary Poppins. Fucking great. So by the end of the film, I was literally just like, this is awesome. They nailed it again. I don't know if it's as good as the first Guardians, but I was like, I'm thoroughly satisfied with everything.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Delhauer, opening thoughts.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that Anthony said. I went into this movie, I remember I was saying to myself, like, as I was driving there, because I was so afraid, like, 30 minutes before the movie started, that I was going to be like, it's going to be disappointing.
Oh, no.
Like, it's I love the first movie so much because it was, like, such a surprise hit that this one's going to not live up to it, and I'm going to be disappointed. So I remember I was just sitting there saying to myself, like, it's not going to be the first one. You're not going to have the same experience. It's not going to be, it's going to be a sequel. But in all honesty, like, it still surprised the hell out of me because every movie that you have a second movie in a franchise immediately gets compared to, like, Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they didn't go full, like, Empire on it in trying to make things, like, a whole lot darker and a whole lot of anything like that. But they did a great job of really developing character. You actually feel feelings with this one.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was great. There were one or two things I'll bring up when we get to our nitpicky segment. Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, for me, man, like when these Marvel movies, when they are good, when they succeed, like you are left with like a Marvel high. Like you're just smiling and buzzing. And I tell you, I was high as a kite.
Oh, shit.
At the end of this movie. And most of that was because of the movie. Some of it maybe wasn't. But I was smiling, like I was laughing. And the audience I saw it with was really good. So like that helped the experience. But great return to these characters. I love hanging out with these guys. I could watch these space adventures of this motley crew of people, over and over again. He did give us a lot of the greatest hits from the first movie, but then, yes, he took it, he pushed it further, and it works as like a part 1 and 2 together. It works so well to complement the first movie.
It just enriches the first movie.
It enriches the first movie. It picks up on things that they set up in the first movie. It's a great second chapter. You get a little bit of closure on things. So great structure by James Gunn. Ultimately, initially I was like, I got nothing bad to say about this. But then the more I thought about it, I do have a couple of critical points, but really the pros way outweigh the cons on this one. So let's start with the pros. It's
a good thing that Rug Boy's not here because we usually start with the pros and then he immediately works in cons.
Yeah, no, he'll say one good thing and then just like turn around and bite it.
So he has trouble like segmenting his thoughts. So let's try. Let's see if we can do that.
I get that sometimes. Let's try that. Delhauer, give me one thing you liked. What worked?
One thing I liked. Damn. Starting off and trying to build it into one thing.
Pick one.
Yeah.
The soundtrack was still amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love the music. I loved how the opening sequence with Mr. Blue Sky is so good.
Well, all the songs are picked like very carefully. Too.
Yeah.
Like every song, like if you listen to the lyrics,
they're part of the script. It's almost, and when
to the point where they mention it, like Kurt Russell outright says, like, "Oh yeah, that song, that whole story is you."
I mean, they deconstructed the lyrics to Brandy, "You're a Fine Girl," which is so hilarious. But you're like, oh yeah, it really is about a space guy coming to Earth and having a baby. You're the guy. And that song is going to be stuck in everyone's heads after watching this movie. When Cat Stevens' father and son hits, like I love Cat Stevens. And that's one of his greatest songs. Like that got me in the feels for real. Cause it was just perfect timing, perfect thematic choice of song for that point in the movie.
I feel like we're going to be on this segment for a while, which is good.
Yeah.
There's more than like one thing to talk about.
Oh, there's plenty. That's the thing. There's plenty of great things to talk about. I love him getting the Zune at the end, carrying on, because his Walkman, his Sony Walkman gets smashed, gets squished. I was really sad.
The audience at the movie when I was at it last night, like to hear like the gasps and stuff like that. And I hear like he crushes, like Kurt Russell crushes the Walkman in his hand. Yes. And I hear one girl behind me go, "Oh no, he did." I was like, people actually say that still.
Well, it's
what year is this?
But this is like a not. I mean, it's kudos to James Gunn.
Yes.
It's also kudos to just Marvel's character work.
Yeah.
That like they've made it so that the fucking Walkman
It's a character.
in Guardians is a fucking character.
Along with
and
the-
you're like literally
yes.
like when he crushes it, you're like,
oh no,
no more music.
Yeah. Along
Oh
with
my God.
the music and the Walkman, yes, absolutely.
Well, then the symbolism of him getting a Zune and
The
moving
Zune.
on from the walk, like it's a product placement, but it's also like, oh, he's moving on. Like he can actually like move on with his life, and he's not living in the fucking 70s and 80s anymore. He's gonna move on to the new century.
And so it's interesting they used the Zune.
Yeah.
Do you remember
I was
the
gonna say,
Zune, anyone?
What I love about it is the fact that it's product placement for a product that doesn't exist
It was
anymore, just like the Walkman.
Yes. So, he could have put in an iPod. He could have put in like a first gen iPod, but to put in the failed Zune was
great.
super hilarious for like geeky tech people. We're like, the Zune.
It's Guardians, man. It's
Yeah.
these fucking rejects, dude.
So, I mean, what's the next soundtrack going to be? Because he's like 300 songs. Like, is it going to be just a long Spotify playlist for the next
it's
one?
just gonna be like early, like not late 90s, early 2000s music.
I was gonna say, if it's a Zune,
Yeah.
it's got to be like early 2000s.
He's going to jump ahead to like Chumbawamba and Smash Mouth.
It's gonna be
Ugh.
fucking Ja Rule.
But Peter has no connections to those songs.
I know, that's why he's gonna learn.
Okay.
He's gonna evolve
It's
as a
gonna be
character
Ja Rule.
through music. He's gonna evolve, but that's the bigger thing. He evolves through this. He's
Yeah.
gonna evolve as a character through fucking music, through the Zoom.
What I can't wait to see is when they do the next Avengers movies and Peter Quill finally comes back to Earth after all these years. Just the major culture shock of like the music and the technology and everything. It'll be like ridiculous. It'll be so fun.
It's literally like Peter Quill is like Cap, where he's like stuck in this era.
Yeah.
And when he comes back to Earth, he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like they don't have the all this shit's done. Like there's all these people are dead. What's going on? Like he'll be acting like Chris Evans as Cap.
It reminds me of a story that a friend of mine had told me.
Tale as
about
old as
working-
time.
Yes. Working in the electronics department at like I think it was like a Kmart or something like that, and talking to a guy who legitimately had just gotten out of prison after 30 years.
Oh, shit.
And like just him trying to wrap his head around the technology that exists.
Oh my God, that would just blow. How do you even deal with that coming out of prison? Be like, I can do what with my phone? What?
Yeah.
But so also it'll be interesting. So the time setting of this movie, I thought was interesting. I thought it worked. It made a lot of sense. We were asking, why is it only a couple of months after the first movie? So in the movie, it's still late 2014. If you do the math from when Star-Lord, Ego, a very well de-aged, appropriately de-aged Kurt Russell with 70s hair.
It's the best they've ever had, the de-aging. Even
It
better
gets
than
better
Tony Stark.
every time. It gets better.
It was upsetting.
I think more of these older Hollywood stars are going to want to be in a Marvel movie just so they could relive what they looked like when they were young on the big screen, because look at what they can do now.
I can't confirm this, but one of the guys I went to go see the movie with last night had said that apparently part of the de-aging they did for Kurt Russell was a mix of both practical and digital
effects. Okay.
Which is why it didn't look nearly as much like they photoshopped a face onto a fake
So
body.
they're learning.
Well, they've done it now with Kurt Russell, with Robert Downey Jr., and they also did it with Douglas. What's his fucking
Michael
Douglas.
Michael Douglas, yeah. And it's gotten
And Ant-Man,
gotten way better every time.
Every time, yeah. Every time they've been
Michael
improving
Douglas, it looked okay. Then with Tony Stark,
Yeah.
it looked like, oh wow, he looks fucking young.
That was crazy. That
And then
was
this
like,
one is like,
You-
this one
seamless.
it literally like it was
You
literally
don't
like
notice it.
it was like well, that's young Kurt Russell.
yeah.
Now, you know what? What they did was they started it with Captain America: First Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
when they were putting Chris Evans's head on the tiny, skinny.
You know what? That effect still holds up. Like they were playing
that's
First Avenger,
fucking
and I was
great.
like, man, this is amazing how you fall for this skinny guy. And
With
it's
Chris Evans' head on it.
yeah, like his head's a little bit big and bobbly, but it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Go ahead.
So-
go ahead, Matt. You were continuing.
I don't remember.
It's okay, Rug Boy.
Rug Boy. Rug Boy is not here.
Imran will cut you off and get you on something else.
So
real
I was
quick.
going to mention when Matt said it'll be neat to see them in Avengers. Like this team will be, it'll be 4 years later. So a lot of things may change just when they show up. But I like that they set this 6 months later because you still see this team kind of working together. and bonding and getting
building.
closer and getting closer in some of these relationships. Something I loved that we mentioned, the humor. The fucking humor was very well done. Now, it may have been a lot top heavy, front heavy, but I was enjoying every second of it. Fucking Taserface and Rocket I was dying. That was great because he just calls him out on his stupid.
I got to say the MVP for me of the humor is Drax.
Bautista kills
Dave
it.
Bautista is like a fucking find because I remember they originally wanted to cast Jason Momoa in this role.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no!
And then they were like, we can't get him, so they were like Dave Bautista, and everyone was probably like, fucking WWE pro wrestler, and get the fuck out of here. And like his character will probably just be a mute that is just the heavy. His character is so fucking earnest and so hilarious. Oh my god, dude, he had so many lines, but the line of the night for me is when he fucking puts on the jetpack at the end. He just screams out, "My nipples!" and then just rides off.
One of my favorite lines is, "Yes, I have notoriously large turds."
I think my favorite was when he was talking to Mantis, and he's just telling her about how it's good to be ugly because then when someone loves you, they love you for who you really
She's
are.
like, "I'm ugly." He goes, "Yes, you're hideous."
You're hideous.
Just like matter of fact.
Just the thought of me being with you physically is
And he's like retching.
He's like dry heaving in bed.
But I think he's trying to that's a compliment. He's trying to compliment her later on, but in his head, that's what he thinks she wants to hear.
No, he definitely is insulting her, but he's just telling her like it is.
He's telling her
but he also sees like if someone does end up loving you, then that means they actually
really
love
you. It's like, so Bautista's casting is like it's a perfect character matched with someone who can write appropriately, knowing Bautista's level of acting. Like it's all the perfect elements coming together.
You also got the fact that Dave Bautista has the physical charisma to pull off a role where he's completely shirtless the entire time.
Yes, and deadpan.
And just giant, and he's just a giant person.
Yeah.
And it's
he's huge, dude.
He is huge, it's so surprising that he can pull that off because he's being asked to do more than just stand around and just say lines. Like he's asked to actually act, and he's pulling it off.
Yeah, he nailed that role. And I read this article where initially when he read the script, he didn't like the direction of Drax. He didn't get it. He was like, "Where are the jokes?" He's like, "I don't." And then when they sat down to do the table read, it clicked for him. People started laughing at his straight deadpan one-liners that he didn't get. He's like, "Oh, I get it now." And then the pairing of Mantis being the female version of just deadpan, literal, innocent. Yeah, they're both innocent. Yeah. So them together was great chemistry.
I did have one little nitpick about Drax.
Oh, crap. See, we've already derailed the good part section.
No, it's all right.
Go ahead.
Which, it's sad for me because he is honestly one of my favorites. There were times where I wondered if maybe Bautista was trying too hard to be funny with the character because he now understands that it's supposed to be funny about how, how much he doesn't understand a situation.
He's almost becoming too self-aware.
He did have the bellowing laugh.
Yes.
Maybe one too many
times. A lot.
Where he's like,
that was awesome.
Yes.
But I was going to say, and it was in rare spots. Because, things like when he decides, I'm going to go jump out of the back of the ship and try and shoot the other one with a gun in hand. Yeah. And then, awesome. As before he does just yells, "Die spaceship," is great.
Yeah.
That works fine. But it was things like, I think a lot of the stuff that they had him do with Mantis, it was obvious that he was trying really, really hard.
Yeah.
I could see that.
But and it's very minuscule. Like that's at a point when you're like, well, I need to find something to be upset about.
That line and the I'm Mary Poppins.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all was my favorite line of the movie.
Is he cool?
Is he cool? Yeah, he's cool. And it's not even that he says I'm Mary Poppins, but he's the Southern guy and he throws in y'all. Like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Very confident,
For a second, he brings back like Merle from The Walking Dead into Yondu.
And you hear it every time he refers to somebody as boy.
Yeah, that's totally Merle. I'm like, is Norman Reedus going to be in this?
It's my brother Merle. Where's my brother Merle? That was great. So I'll interject. The heart, the fucking family, like you put in here, the fatherhood, all those themes. It all wraps up towards the end of this film where you got, the three-way interaction between Ego, Peter, and Yondu.
Yeah,
you also have the weird fucking This movie did more for fucking Thanos' diabolicalness.
Yeah.
If that's a fucking word.
He really fucked up his
than
daughters.
the first movie ever did. Like, they shouldn't even have had him in the first movie.
Yeah.
This movie, like the fact that he was fucking replacing his daughter's body part with mechanical body parts every time she lost.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that fucking guy is evil as shit.
No, that's a great argument.
That's a great, like,
for not
that-
having him in there.
Yeah, and
still,
just talking about
yeah.
it. But like that weird chemistry where two sisters and then an abusive father. And then you have, Mantis and Dave Bautista like learning about each other. And then you have Rocket in there who's basically Yondu's character, just younger.
Yeah.
And like acting up because he pushes the people away that he's closest
that loves them.
to.
And then you have the whole team kind of raising baby Groot.
Right.
As like their surrogate baby.
He's their kid.
Yeah, which let's talk about Groot, man. Like, of course, we knew he was going to steal the show. That opening dance scene was hilarious. So fucking cute. You just want to bite him. You just want to eat him.
The first thing I think about when Baby Groot is how the fuck is Vin Diesel getting paid to do this?
Like, how much work did he really put into this movie? That's what I want to know.
So that video that I gave you guys, where they showed both him and Bradley doing their lines, I love the contrast between the two of them. So you see they've got Bradley wearing the camera for like facial capture.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also like he's up and he's energetic and he's delivering these like as best as he can, and you see like James Gunn is in the background like laughing his ass off at the line delivery. And then they show Vin and it's just him by himself in the room, and the guy who's directing him is just like, all right, now do you want a little more angry? I am Groot. Okay, now just draw it out a little longer. I am Groot. Okay. And like that's what it is.
Okay, let's break for lunch. I think we're good. We'll see you for the next one.
The other thing that I had read was that apparently when they did the first movie, and I'm assuming it's when they do with this one as well, they gave Vin a very specific, like a script that was only his, where Groot's lines were actually written out as what him saying "I am Groot" was supposed to mean.
Oh, say "I am Groot" as if you're saying this.
So it's like you're saying "I am Groot," but what you're saying is "I agree with this person."
Wow.
So that it's, I'm Groot.
Well, okay, so he has the thought in his head, and
that works.
And you see that in this one a lot, because you kind of almost contextually figure out what he's saying. Rocket, Rocket is great. Rocket's fucking just him, the eye winking with the wrong eye was great, and the little he said I love the line where he said you're welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use frickin', and he's like, you and I are gonna have a talk about your language.
That was really good. I think the other one that I really liked was the whole waiting to try and find tape thing during the battle.
Oh my god, you could hear Peter going around to different people asking them for tape during this battle.
Yeah, Scotch tape would work. Well, then why would you ask?
Because you could just hear Drax going, I don't have any Scotch tape.
That all worked. I'd also throw in like James Gunn his direction. So usually in the sequel, opens up with a big fucking action sequence, especially with an ensemble film. This one does,
but it's in the background.
But it's twisted on its head, and it's Baby Groot dancing while you're not even paying attention to the battle that's going on because Baby Groot's dancing and he's in the foreground. And there's also like I didn't really count that many big action scenes in this film.
Yeah.
And usually in the second film of a sci-fi comic booky blockbuster, the action scenes are just ramped up to a level, like another level. This one, there isn't. There isn't much.
In that same vein, they always try and ramp up and make go bigger, have more locations or anything like that. This took place in like 5 locations,
right. Different planets,
and that was it.
Yeah.
It was 3 planets, a spaceship, 2 spaceships, I think, and that was it.
So while
there is no memorable fight scene because every fight scene is just character. It's all character development.
Exactly.
Which is really interesting because this is there is a little bit of world universe ending problems at the end, but it's really a very small, intimate, character driven movie, even though it takes place in the vastness of space and all these fucking planets.
By the way, how is anybody who lives on Earth in the world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe surprised by anything anymore?
I know. So much shit. Okay, so now 4 years ago, this fucking shit happened in Missouri. Nobody's talked about it since then because they didn't
I actually thought it was clever as a way to get them eventually back to Earth because they're like, oh, we need to go fucking
Well, you
Earth.
see his grandfather, his movie, Peter Quill's granddad, and he's in the car that once the blob stops.
His grandfather?
Yeah.
How did you pick that up?
Because he was in the first one in the beginning when the mom dies of cancer.
Oh, I had no idea. I didn't pick that up at all.
I may have read it later on, but I was like, oh yeah, that because I noticed that guy, and I was like,
watching the movie, I didn't realize that was him. But the moment Imran said it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
So to tie it, give him some Earth ties still for whatever.
Because they had him show up in like the little during the credits when they had like the little pictures that were moving of characters. They had that guy, and I was like, that was just the dude in the car.
Oh, he was in there too.
I was like, what the fuck is he doing there?
In anyone else's hands, I would have like been through that first 50 to 60% of that movie, been like, all right, this is just comedy over. Like I was literally thinking about it during the film, like, is this just Iron Man 3 where it's just Robert Downey Jr. doing jokes over and over and over and over. And in anyone else's hands, I think I would have gotten tired of it. But with Gunn, I was just laughing the entire time that it like worked up until it needed to work. And then the character took
I also think it was his way of giving us more of what we loved in the first movie right away. You know, giving us like all the fun, best of, greatest hits of the Guardians to kind of get it out of the way. And then the story progresses.
Well, and that's the great thing about the way Gunn approaches it. Like, especially with the opening credit sequence where it is, you know, every movie that would, you know, anybody else who made this movie would have done, you know, the big fight with the giant interdimensional alien to try and be like, all right, we're in it right away. But with Gunn, he's like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. Like, that doesn't matter to the story. It doesn't matter to the characters. So instead, I'm going to be like, hey, look at this baby tree dancing. That's fucking adorable.
Even not only that, but like, even like the character tropes, like the big fight scene in the beginning always establishes like, this character's good at this, and this character's this, and this character has this power. Literally, like within the first scene, Gamora's holding a gun, and Peter Quill's like, I thought swords were your thing.
Yeah,
he's literally just flipped. Like, it doesn't matter how they fight. These characters, there's no distinct fighting style for any of these guys because it doesn't fucking matter.
And then even on top of that, they flip it around to the whole point of making the joke of, you know, he points out, oh, you're using guns. I thought you used swords. And she uses a sword.
She does use a sword at the end. No, this is James Gunn, like, along with your Joss Whedon, Jon Favreau, like, his stamp is over this movie. He's so confident in what he wants to put on screen. We've talked about, like, the Marvel color grading issue on the Earth-based movies. This movie, and the first one, does not suffer that at all. I was engrossed in CG Ego, the Living Planet. Just gorgeous. Like, every set, I was like, wow, this fucking set is great.
I read somewhere, someone's comment was like Michael Rooker MVP on that article I read on Birth Movies Death, but then they also put in Jack Kirby MVP because this movie just took everything that Jack Kirby
And you're going to see a lot of that in Thor Ragnarok is more Jack Kirby influence, but God, the beautiful colors. Every scene kind of had its own color palette, just visual eye candy. Fucking loved it. What else? What else worked for you guys?
I was gonna say Sean Gunn.
Oh yeah,
another standout in it.
He was really funny. And
who would have known? And who would not only funny, but like he's got like a little bit of like fatherly thing going on with Yondu as well.
And he may be like the next Yondu. According to that post-credit scene, kind of picking up the mantle with the arrow. But
oh my God, was that great?
No,
see, that's another thing. It's another short moment that is so great with character because it's like he's this kind of bumbling, first mate fool, but he has the potential of being something great. And then just yet again making it that Drax is the butt of the joke.
Yeah, always.
Well, and also like Sean Gunn, like physically, not Hollywood,
right?
At all,
right?
But by the end of this film, you're like, I could go on board with this guy joining the team.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Sean Gunn is this generation's Clint Howard.
Who's Clint Howard?
Clint Howard was the younger brother of Ron Howard, who showed up in every one of his movies.
Oh shit!
because he is not an attractive man.
Clearly didn't leave much of an impression because I'm like, who the fuck's Clint Howard?
No, if
I see his face, I'll be like, oh, that guy.
I'll send a picture over to you. The moment you see him, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know.
That guy's been in everything. No, man, the heart was great, and even in the beginning, you get with the action scene in the background, you get the heart of the characters. How they're defending Baby Groot and looking after him while they're fighting.
Talking about this movie like makes me want to go watch it again.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once. Usually I've like seen it 2 or 3 times.
I legitimately was talking to my brother earlier. I was like, hey, if you're not doing anything tonight, you want to go see Guardians? Like, I saw it last night. I'm talking about it now. would immediately I would drop doing this show right now and go see it again.
Well, don't do that. We got to still talk about it.
Yeah, we still got to talk about it. And
no, fuck you guys. I'm out.
Like fucking Gunn packed so many nods to Marvel history, Marvel comics, Easter eggs, little touches. The fucking the football game that he uses in the beginning to track the things is great. I love touches like that. And we'll get to the Easter eggs. There's tons of character
Well, it looks
mentions.
like when the Sovereign are hunting the fucking.
Yes,
they're
let's talk about that.
basically playing Atari.
Yes, they're all. It's
an arcade.
It's a nod to the '80s arcade where everyone stands around watching, and then when the guy gets blown up, the guy's like, "You suck, dude."
Yeah.
Like that's what that's what you would do.
Yeah.
But even the sound effects,
it was like,
video game
yeah,
sound
yeah.
effects. I was like, "Oh, that is great." Little touches like that fill this movie and just make it so much fun.
I think it's also the fact that. I'd seen this. I said this before on the show, but no one actually gives a fuck about the Guardians before this happened.
Yeah.
So Gunn literally just has this palette that he can just do whatever the fuck he wants, and he just makes this like ode to the '80s and the '70s and all that stuff, and it just works because these characters, he's molded them to embody this.
Yeah.
No one Before this era, no one gave a fuck about Star-Lord, so you could do whatever the hell you wanted.
He owned it, and they're great, relatable, flawed characters, despite them being aliens.
Ego.
Yeah,
if you're a comic book fan, that's not Ego at all.
Yeah,
this is not fucking Star-Lord.
Ego is not a celestial. First of
No.
all, Ego is a living planet, and he's pretty much a living planet.
Yeah, there is no human form.
There is no
to
human
Ego.
form. So let's talk about that a little bit, because this was a big concern going in. Like, how the fuck are they going to do this? And for once, I feel like they did a good job explaining the villain and his motivations and giving this villain more heart, more depth than a lot of their villains in these movies.
It's interesting that they finally got a villain good or correct. Wow,
Yeah.
I can't speak.
You speak good.
I speak good.
Speak more gooder.
But it's a character that on paper shouldn't work at all, and it hasn't worked at all in film prior to this, because if you look at comic book films, Galactus sucked dick in Fantastic Four. What's his name? Parallax and Green Lantern. Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And then
Space
even
villains are always hard.
Even
the fact
Dormammu
that,
and Doctor Strange, okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're able to pull off such an awesome villain with a character that is you physically can't even imagine how big he is.
Right.
Is unreal for me. Sorry, go ahead, Dahar.
Well, no, I was just going to say, they seem to have this problem where they constantly believe that doing a planet-sized, galactic enemy is, it's just too ridiculous, it won't work. So we're just going to make it a giant space
Make it a cloud. Make it a big fart. It's a big space fart.
Yeah.
But this one, man, they went all in and just... So let's discuss for a second, does this fix the Marvel villain problem in this movie? I feel like they got a lot of things right. But in the end, ultimately, they may have fallen back on their old villain tropes. Now...
All right.
On their bring him in for one and then kill him off.
That, and we'll save it for the nitpick. There's a couple of things, but initially, I think you have to credit the marketing of this movie, because there was no indication who the big villain was going into it. You thought it would be Aisha and the Sovereign. You knew Peter Quill's father was going to show up, but that reveal got to me when he tells people that when his plan starts to unveil, the moment he goes, "That's why I put a tumor in your mom." Like, the audience gasped. People were like, "Wow, oh shit." And it was a well-earned surprise. I did not see that coming.
Well, it's also implied that he's been fucking everybody all over the world.
Yeah, he spread his space seed everywhere,
killing all their.
Yes, because none of them came up with the celestial
not only
gene.
the kid, but it's implied that he's
the moms
killing
too.
The moms too. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been implied that he's killing the moms. It's been implied that he's killing the planets.
Right. Oh shit, that's right.
Mantis made mention of, I was the only thing left on my planet, and
so
he took me
so
back.
He planted one of those seeds probably, and then just destroyed the planet.
And it's genius because he says, this is the third time I visited your mom 3 times, and the 4th time, if I didn't leave, I would have never left.
Yeah,
and I would have abandoned my plans. So
And
his mom was so great
Yeah.
that he would have turned good for her, but in the end, he's still an evil motherfucker.
Imagine someone telling you your mom was such a great leg that he almost didn't destroy the universe because of it.
Yeah.
I was ready to give up being a god for your mom.
Here's a question for both of you.
Yeah.
What was more impactful? You finding out that he put the tumor in his mom's head?
Yeah.
Or him crushing the Walkman?
Oh. Those are both really get you in the feels moment.
Right?
I'm gonna say it's probably the Walkman.
Walkman beats cancer.
Now here's the funny
Got
thing.
it.
Here's the funny thing. It sounds stupid, but here's why. Because him giving the mom cancer, I kind of always assumed. Not purposefully though. I thought it was like being with him wound up giving her cancer or something.
Okay.
Destroying. So it's him finding out that he killed his mom. Sucks. It's a big moment. Him destroying the Walkman is him killing his mom again.
Yeah, in front of him.
That's true. That's very good logic.
Yeah, because that's who he got the Walkman
Well,
from.
I remember thinking back to that first film, and it opens with the mom dying.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is the saddest thing ever. And this is how this movie's going to open up. And then you remember now that he is the one that caused all that sadness. And I'm like, wow.
Well, that's another
that is a
genius
fucking
thing
evil motherfucker.
about this villain is they set him up in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like
No,
very organic.
These two films work almost like you have to watch them back to back now.
That's what I said last night. Is I can't wait until I have the ability to watch these movies one right after the other.
Yeah. Oh, they'll play so well together because you want more and you still want more when it's over.
I know that James Gunn had said that he basically had this entire film written. He just had to figure out who could fill the role of what eventually became Ego.
And I think they picked
he had all the framework in place.
I think you got to credit Kurt Russell too for pulling this off.
Well, he also needed a character. Like he found there was a lot of negotiation because Ego is technically, I think, a Fox Fantastic Four character.
Yeah, he was a
right. They
Fantastic
traded.
Four
Remember, they
character
traded powers or something with Teenage Negasonic Warhead.
He needed something like that felt celestial. That wasn't a celestial.
Yeah. So, and to your point of that, he can do whatever he wants with the Guardians. He's fucking with Ego and the Marvel canon in terms of Ego being a celestial, but it doesn't matter. It works. Like Peter is a half god for a while, and I love how that explains why he could hold on to the Infinity Stone in the first movie.
How about the moment where Peter can create anything, and he creates a baseball to toss with his dad?
How adorable was that?
Literally, everyone's like laughing, like, "Oh my god, it's a baseball!"
Oh no! It hit me right in the heart. Like, that was the beginning of like feelings in this movie. Was like. Because even the fact it was like legitimately just once before when he's telling the whole story about how he used to pretend David Hasselhoff was his dad, and he's like, I saw kids like playing catch with their fathers, and I wanted that.
Yeah.
And then like he gets it, and like it's suddenly it's slowing down, it's slow mo, and they got the music swelling. I'm like, oh fuck,
and you got Kurt Russell like just being like, yeah,
with that big ass grin on his face.
Yeah, throw it, buddy.
He doesn't have to say anything.
I will catch it and I'll throw it back.
You instantly become a kid, which like that's what I'm saying. You needed Kurt Russell in this role because that's the shit he could pull off.
Yeah,
that is the relatable, human, iconic. It's just so perfect. You might as well put Hasselhoff was in there for a second, but he's a Hasselhoff.
It's Gunn's
standard.
genius because he wrote the lines. Initially, you're like, that's fucking hilarious. He thinks of his dad as David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
What a joke.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, wait, there's character in just him saying that and using David Hasselhoff as well. Like, it's just the genius by the end of the film, if you're paying attention to everything, is reveals itself so well. And I'm just like literally, I was smiling towards the end of the film.
Yeah, very, very, very tightly written. Very good stuff.
Any other good things you want to point out before we... How about I think Baby Groot pulling off everything but the fucking fin?
It's like you don't have a drawer full of severed thumbs, do you? It's like, all right, let's just never mention this.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's what I loved was the subtle hints at like just how confusing what the Ravagers do is. Because there's like the one point when they're sending Nebula on her way, and Sean Gunn has the line of like, "Yeah, we got a whole box full of hands." I mean, if that one doesn't work for you.
Oh, Baby Groot was hilarious, and the fin, Yondu's fin was awesome. I was really happy. To see him
caught
put the
that.
fin
I
in.
caught that Easter
great.
egg. I was like, "Oh, that's old Yondu.
That's what he's supposed to look
Yeah.
like," and it was fantastic looking.
How about this film just casually just murdering hundreds of people? And you're just like, oh, cool.
They always do that, though. Actually, remember we went over the death tolls in movies, and the last Guardians movie has the highest death toll. It was like 83,000 people.
Well, this one's just like arrows through the heart.
Yeah.
Just like very casually. Like, look at all this murder.
Oh, just zip, 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 zip. It looks beautiful.
Look at this murder.
Dying.
It's so beautiful.
I mean, and then I guess when those seeds did break open on planets, there's more hundreds of thousands of people dying.
Right.
The first movie killed like 800,000, 80,000.
Yeah, I mean, Nebula and Gamora find a cave full of just dead children.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, all the various skulls of the different children he's killed.
Right. It's just like if this was a DC film, we'd be like, oh my god, why is there this much murder?
This is a Zack Snyder movie.
It's all in the way you handle it, right?
And honestly, in the way of the writing, the journey that they took the character of Yondu on throughout that movie is so great, even to the point where it's like that opening bit when he's talking to Stallone, and Stallone just plants the little seed of like, we had one rule that you don't deal in kids. And so at first you're just thinking, oh, he got kicked out because of Quill.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you find out later on from Ego that he had him collecting all of them.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck. So it's like Ego even ruined his life.
The fact that
on top of all these other things.
So the fact that Yondu knew this whole time what was going on, I love it ties back to why he didn't deliver Peter to Ego. And you feel bad for Yondu from that very first scene where we meet him, because there's kind of a mutiny going on, and and Yondu just wants to be part of the Ravagers. He feels he wants to be part of the team.
And it's like, and they hint at it, but it just builds throughout the film. Like you're like, why are people loyal to Yondu? Like, why does he have this crew that's like still sticking with him after all this shit he's done? And then you realize that, well, deep down, Yondu probably cared for everybody on this crew, and that was just his. He just had a unique way of showing it.
Yep.
You can see it in his face when they're doing the whole mutiny bit and they have him tied to the chair. The way that he is just staring off and disconnected from all of it.
Yeah, it's so sad,
because it is legitimately his friends killing each other and threatening to kill him.
Yeah. Oh, Yondu, fucking A, dude.
And he's like, he just can't tell me.
This is like one of the points where I like have to point to like one of the criticisms of Marvel is they never kill anybody, right? Yondu dying, is like feels
this
man.
one
like right in the feels.
This one is really upset that they killed fucking Yondu, and the funeral
and this is the second
scene,
consecutive
beautiful.
Yeah, that. And this is the second consecutive film where I've like legitimately walked out of a Marvel film like, wow, that's kind of sad. Not skipping Doctor Strange, but like the end of Civil War. Like you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Tony Stark and Captain America aren't friends anymore.
And how can they be after this?
That's worth to me just as much as any death. And then Yondu, who a character that no one gave a fuck about before Guardians even came out, he dies, and you're like, fuck, that's the feels too. Like Marvel, they can't kill their main characters because we know that these guys have to stay around forever, but they're still doing things that make you feel things.
He's got that great line where he's like, I'm not your father, but I'm still your daddy.
Still your daddy,
And you're like, oh, shit.
I think one of the greatest things is, like, this is such a Michael Rooker thing, is it's exactly what they did with Merle, where when you first meet him, he's kind of this smarmy douchebag that you really have absolutely no connection to. And then as time goes on, they reveal that he actually has a really good heart. He is willing to go as far as he has to take care of the people he loves, and dies for it. And once he's dead, your only reaction is, I did not appreciate this character for who he was until he was gone.
And Rooker plays that rough around the edges, tough but soft with a heart.
Let me throw
inside.
in my every weekly show diss against Batman v Superman. Compare that to fucking Superman dying in Batman versus Superman. Superman, the title character in this film.
Yes.
And everyone's like, yeah, I don't feel
that
anything.
is such a clear black and white comparison of how to do it.
It's literally
right.
the title character, and they can't.
And you
they
get
can't make
nothing.
that. You make
It
you
meant
feel
nothing.
nothing.
It meant nothing.
Whereas this Yondu, fucking Yondu.
Yeah, a blue guy with a fin who whistles and an arrow
Whistles an
flies
arrow
around.
flies
I was going to say the southern blue skinned dude who shoots you with an arrow. He
I love how Rocket's like, I thought Yondu was your dad. Or no, Drax, didn't Drax say that? He goes, I thought,
yeah,
it's like he's got
he
blue
goes,
skin.
I thought Yondu was your father.
It's like, what? He's blue.
Isn't it? I think he even mentioned that. I think Yondu is part Kree, or he is Kree.
Yeah, they kept talking about the Kree were coming.
I think he
he's
said
part
that he was
Kree.
No, the Kree were coming after him because of the first movie.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, they were still chasing him, yeah.
I thought he mentioned that he might be Kree, but maybe I just misheard.
But you really get the sense that like Yondu raised Peter, you know, and it's just so. And the funeral, like, when have they given such a great funeral for an in movie for a character that just seems so appropriate? And it was a great follow up.
They did Thor: The Dark World, where it was a play on like letting the ships float.
Oh
in the ocean.
yeah,
so
yeah,
that kind of with
yeah.
when what's her face died.
I forget.
His wife. Or Thor.
Oh, Freya.
Yeah. So they did do something kind of cool like that, but this one was way more spectacular.
See, what I think is really interesting, and I honestly, I'm a little sad that they didn't do more of it, was they do touch throughout the whole movie, like, again, it's Gunn planting these tiny little pieces about Yondu being a father figure to Peter.
Mm-hmm.
When he and Rocket are fighting over who's going to go flying us through this asteroid field, he makes the comment, Yondu had me flying this thing since I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So you already get the idea of Yondu taught me how to do this.
Fly, yeah.
When they get to the point where Ego is asking Peter, what point is there to life other than basically controlling all of life? And he has his little like flashbacks to the things he appreciates. Yeah. There's the moment of Yondu teaching him how to shoot his
I
pistols.
love that shot. I was like, oh, look at that. Yeah.
And like, I wanted to see more of that. It was like, now that we're getting this whole idea of like, I get it. Yondu was the father he always needed.
Yeah.
Also, you get just in the scene where Yondu and Rocket are arguing, and he's like, he basically tells him like, you're me.
Yeah.
So you're basically, what you're seeing in Rocket is young Yondu on screen. And he's basically like, don't make the fucking mistakes I made, because if you do that, you're going to end up on the path like me, where you're just fucking, you're not the person you are when you look in the mirror.
The character beats in this movie are so amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
Rocket,
there's so
Rocket
much.
learns from Yondu and is now evolved because Yondu was in his life.
Because especially, again, going back and seeing, Yondu talks about, keeping everybody at arm's length because you don't want to be hurt by caring about them. And you see that what that leads to is the people he cares about turning on him and trying to kill him.
Which is precisely why Rocket stole the battery. Just because he was like, well, I got to make these people like hate me again. I'm starting to like everyone, so I'm going to make them hate me. And then that battery ends up inadvertently being the reason why they destroy Ego.
They both discover their self-sabotaging ways.
Right.
But yeah, then the battery ties into the very, like, man, fucking, what's such great writing?
Otherwise, if he doesn't steal that battery, they have no chance of defeating Ego.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right. It's not like, it's sort of a Deus Ex Machina, but not really. It was
not as big as a MacGuffin.
It's not like they just found one of the Infinity Gems and did this.
No, everything.
It was Ego's, it was Rocket's fucking self-sabotage that ended up helping the team.
And recklessness.
I have to say, that's one of the things also about this movie that I really liked, was that they did not yet again center everything around an Infinity Stone.
Yeah. Yes.
So that was the thing. I was at one point when they were talking, they were talking about like the power in the center of the planet and everything like that. And they said like, well, we got to kill what's down there, his brain or his soul or whatever. I was like, oh, fuck, tell me it's going to be the soul gem.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
The center of Ego.
I'm surprised there was no mention of any stones. That was ballsy. I think we're going to see the soul gem in Thor Ragnarok.
Well, it also, like, again, enriches the first film because you're like, why the fuck can Quill hold an Infinity Stone?
Yes.
Oh, it's because he's a fucking celestial.
And at least
he's legit half god.
And at least they explained that he was just like a floating brain, Ego, who just build a thing, and then he's like, I want to be flesh.
Yeah.
And that reminded me a lot of what they're doing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Ada. Like, she's built herself a flesh
Well,
body.
also, like, the play on, well, I've lived for 1,000,000 years. I've seen everything.
Yeah.
And you know what? Life is not perfect. You know what's perfect? Me.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it perfect by destroying all of life and being everything just being me. Like, that actually works for me.
Because he's like, you know what? I've lived life and it's actually quite disappointing.
Right.
He's like, I'm just going to wipe it out.
Yeah, I'm just going to, because everything should just be me.
Yeah.
I make it better.
Yes.
Everything will live if it's me. If you let life live its course, eventually everyone's going to die. That sucks.
Yeah.
Why not just live forever?
Just hand it over to me.
Yeah,
I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Makes sense.
I think we should move into...
Are we loving this too much?
What didn't work, maybe. What we didn't like. Who wants to start? I got a thing I can start with.
All right.
Can Peter and Gamora just fuck already and get it over with? This fucking will they or won't they fucking soap opera bullshit from television?
See, but I feel like that still works because they even comment on it.
Yeah, that's true.
He outright calls it a sitcom situation.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because it's a show that doesn't exist.
He's like, it's
like
the
Cheers.
Sam and Diane from Cheers. And she's like, I don't even know what Cheers is.
He's like, we're not a Cheers, we're in some other show that doesn't exist.
I actually think Marvel does romance really well because
Yeah.
they don't actually, in a lot of the films, they don't have that big moment where they kiss. Like, they always hold off on that stuff because that's so cliche in a fucking superhero film.
The dancing...
They only did once, and it was in Civil War, and when it happened, it then led to a great comedy moment of two of his best friends watching him kiss her.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess on the other side,
But I can see the frustration.
Yeah, I mean, like, again... But
you know that they're going to hook up.
Again, it is... But timing of it, that it's only like a few months after the last one, these feelings are still there. You know, they're going to hook up there. The dancing bit...
He's got a sexual love for her.
I did... You have romantic love. Ha ha ha, do me next.
Sexual love.
But wait, if I could go back to what did work for a second
Sure.
with that, because
I feel like we're gonna have
We're
these
gonna have to go back
nitpicks,
and
and then
forth.
we're gonna be like, but it kind of was working.
the theme of dancing throughout the movie was very interesting because it explained a couple of things. It explained why Groot freezes whenever Drax looks at him and he stops dancing. Because Drax considers dancing a weakness, and that's what he looks for in a mate, which was another hilarious. He goes, "You could have the most rousing music. She wouldn't even tap her foot. It was almost like she was dead."
He's like, yeah, she sounds like a hottie. Oh yes, she did indeed engorge my
She
loin.
engorged my loin. He's like, all right, enough. But this whole theme of dancing, and then he danced with her. He's like, why are you afraid of dancing? You know, I like to dance. She does it. Stuff like that.
That works, yeah.
Okay, back to what didn't work. Who's got one?
I honestly, there were points where I wondered if they were trying to push Baby Groot too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was, with the merchandising.
And I feel like that was, a Disney push. Was like at some point the producers came back to Gunn and they were like, we want more of Baby Groot because we got to sell that.
Oh,
shit.
you got to believe they saw this thing as a huge cash cow, the Baby Groot coming out.
I definitely agree with that too, because I actually don't think Baby Groot was the funniest character in the entire film. I thought it was. I thought Drax was funnier. I thought Yondu had funnier
It was
lines.
it borderline gimmicky a little bit.
Yeah.
He was adorable, but it got a little
Like, how many times can you look at a puppy crying?
Yeah, exactly. And it was cute the way he was like kind of like a puppy or kind of like a baby, like he put things in his mouth. The Rocket's like, spit that out.
I was gonna say he had good moments, like the whole opening bit where he's telling him to spit the thing out when he's trying
It's
to
like,
eat it, where
disgusting.
he's randomly having like these little 2-year-old tantrum outbursts.
Yeah.
Like when Drax falls
He
on the
smashed
music
and
and
he
he
starts
immediately
hitting him.
starts hitting
Yeah.
him. Or how, like, in the middle of the fight, he stops, he's looking at Gamora, and she looks at him, he just waves.
She
She's
goes,
like, yeah, hi.
I love that.
That works.
He's riding those little pests and shit.
When they do, oh man, I gotta throw in another positive
that's
moment.
fine. It's gonna be a mix.
When they space jump like 7,000 space
Oh,
jumps,
yeah.
and then at the end he like just barfs up.
throws up.
He just throws up like a
Green.
baby. Yeah. Also, you got the fucking
that
like.
whole scene was great.
It reminded me like the mask when the dog puts on
Yep,
the mask. Like
yep.
their faces just expanding. I was dying.
700 jumps. We're not supposed to be doing this.
Their eyes
was
popping
good.
out. I was like, oh, that's straight 80s. That's
And
so good.
you know what? Again, we're going to go back to something that worked. I'm surprised we didn't mention Yondu and Rocket taking out the entire Ravager.
Oh,
crew.
that was a great scene.
And I think is funny is that it was this weird bit of ironic foreshadowing of when they were doing that. Like my buddy Nick sitting next to me is like, Yondu's just walking down the catwalk whistling, everybody's dying around him. And Nick goes, so that means basically he's untouchable. And he winds up being the character who dies at the end of the movie.
I also love when the gold lady, Aisha, she laughs at Taserface once he tells her.
You see, we haven't even talked about Taser.
Snickering.
Taser face.
I gotta throw in one of the negatives, although it fucking ended up working at the end of the film.
It's hard to find negatives.
It's hard, but at first, the first like 50 to 60% of the movie, I was just like, all right, every scene I was just waiting for the joke.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
is this ever gonna be something? Is there ever gonna be something substance here, or is this just a big joke?
Yeah.
So it was making me contemplate during the film, like, are they just resting on their laurels that every character is funny? Or is there actually a film here? There ended up being a film, but I was like, at one point in the film, I'm like, all right, every scene is just going to be a punchline.
So I can also see people walking away from this movie thinking it's just purely surface level fun and it's similar to the first one, maybe a little too repetitive. And whether it is exactly like the first one, and so also some of the B, C plot storyline relationshipy things felt a little bit like TV plotline writing, how you jump from one thing to, and then you go back. So I could see it being surface level, maybe a little bit.
I think one of the things that definitely was a little bit of a drawback, and it's definitely a problem that they had with Iron Fist as well, is they had a lot of instances where because they felt like they were short on time or there were things they needed to get to, a lot of characters just outright spoke how they felt or how something related to them.
Yes, I will agree. So structure-wise, to your point, Anthony, yes, the first act, all set up joke. Second act, very heavy exposition-y, but then he makes up for all of that with the fucking awesome final last act scene.
Yeah, it's tough to like hate on the first two acts. Just
he saved it. He saved it.
The third act is so
fucking
good.
saved it with that third act, the whole ending, and all the post-credit scenes being part of the last final experience.
I'll throw in that like Ego being a Celestial and it's like this motley crew of characters killing him was a little unbelievable. Just if you're like a Marvel, they just
like, fucking killed a Celestial.
Right, each of these characters rank in a certain power set. Like this is a Celestial and he dies.
It can definitely feel
it's like you're killing Galactus.
A little over the top.
Right.
I think part of what it builds into is the fact that it was a Celestial killed by a half Celestial and his friends. It's also supposed to be playing into the idea of everybody underestimates the Guardians.
That's true.
So everyone would think like, oh, these 5 Jagoffs like killed a Celestial. It's like, yeah, they did.
But now imagine that reputation in the universe now, which is why, Nebula's hate towards Thanos and that, I think it'll play in well in Infinity War.
Their reputation was they were already being noticed because Star-Lord was able to hold an Infinity Stone. So they already have Thanos' attention.
Ego made a comment about how he's like, oh yeah, when I heard that there was, an Earther who could hold a stone, like hold an Infinity Stone. And you're like, so that means everybody's talking.
I love Drax when he goes, my dad used to tell us stories of when he impregnated my mom all the time.
That's disgusting. It was beautiful.
He's like, you Earthers have hang-ups. It's so good.
I'll throw in, if you're a casual fan and you're expecting a ton of action, this isn't your film.
And also, I don't think you can just walk into this movie without seeing the first one.
No.
Which I think some people will do.
But at the same time, who the hell walks into number 2?
People do it.
Like, as the first, like, yeah, I guess I'll just watch this sequel.
Watch it backwards.
I'm an ass. One time I walked into a Harry Potter film when it was like the 6th one.
Yeah.
And I literally hadn't seen
any of them. What the fuck is going on?
And I was that asshole like, this sucks. Like, I don't know anything.
You're not going to enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
So, okay, back to the villain of what it worked and it didn't work. It worked for all the things we said. I think where ultimately he kind of copped out and failed at the end is that it became 2 guys in suits kind of equally powered fighting each other briefly again.
One of the things that I commented on, though, and this is funny enough.
Pac-Man bit was hilarious.
This is now, the Pac-Man thing was great. Yeah. And that also leads to what I think was another one of the greatest lines in the movie, which was, oh, I'm going to build some weird shit.
Yeah.
Forgot
but
about
it was,
that. Oh, my God.
While I was watching Ego and Peter fighting, it made me think, again, kind of flashing back to DC versus Marvel, this was what I felt Superman versus Zod should have looked like.
Ah!
And I mean, it's not to say, like, Superman versus Zod didn't look like this in Man of Steel, right. But it was like, this was the emotional level that what they were supposed to be to it.
Yes.
That this was like, for Peter, this is my father. Yeah. For Superman, this is the only person left of my race.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. I mean, this is my father, you killed my mother. Well, it's huge.
To that Man of Steel, it's literally like, this is my last connection to the family I ever wanted, and I'm going to have to
kill him now. But it didn't quite reach that emotional.
It wasn't like that.
No, I was going to say, it didn't get that far with it with this one, because it at least was able to then turn around and say, this is the father that you've always wanted, but you can't have him, but you've had a father all along. In Man of Steel, he didn't. His dad died. And his dad didn't teach him shit.
No. In fact, his dad told him, hey, don't save anyone. They're all a bunch of assholes.
Don't be a hero. Yeah. Everyone sucks. This planet
They're not worth your time, Clark.
Now bye.
Great fatherly advice.
How about another character we haven't mentioned yet, but I think deserves a little bit of love? She's not exactly like the funniest character, although she did have some funny moments too, where she's playing like the straight character looking at these people all ridiculous. But Karen Gillan as Nebula, she's pulling that off. Her physical charisma is there.
Yeah.
She amped it up a lot more.
Looked great. She looked great as Nebula, and
because I remember in the first one of the problems I had was I felt like there's a lot of great things going on here, and you can see Karen Gillan trying way too hard to act. Mm-hmm. In this one, it was far better.
Yeah. See, but the other thing that kind of bothered me about the writing were these, like I said, these little, like, they have the sister relationship. It's very TV, and then for a while, it's like Drax and Mantis don't really have much to do, but just hang out and you see their character. And some things are just kind of random. Like, Ego just shows up fucking out of nowhere, really, to save them. No explanation.
Oh,
the first time.
They explain that because they, how do they explain that? They had the Sovereign. There was something going on with the Sovereign where he noticed what was going on.
Oh. Because, like, what took him so long to find fucking people?
Yeah, I'm honestly thinking it may have been. There were a lot of moments in this movie where it was I missed dialogue because I was laughing.
I did miss a lot of dialogue because the whole audience was laughing. And
no, they explained it, but I just don't remember exactly how they explained it. But they explained
it. Seemed a little like just.
I mean, he did pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, he'd be like, maybe it's the tiny man.
It was a 1-inch man.
I mean,
he probably would have been bigger if he was closer.
A 1-inch man.
A 1-inch man.
I'm trying to think of things, and I don't have much. Are you sad that Ego's gone?
No, I'm more sad that Yandu's gone. So I'm okay they killed Ego.
Because that's a lot of, everyone complains, oh, well, they kill these villains and they can never come back.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is that with a villain like Ego, you have to kill him.
Absolutely. He's too big of a fucking threat out there.
To have something be that powerful just looming, like we've already been waiting for Thanos for fucking 9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
To then have it be like, oh, well, Ego's going to want his revenge, and this guy's still out there, and they still have to deal with, Galactus or whatever, it's going to be too much. Because, yeah, it works for the comics, but in that movie universe, because of how much more connected everything is, it's going to be dogpiling.
I feel like we're grasping at things to be nitpicking.
There really isn't that much. I mean, I'm having fun. Like, there's a lot to geek out about.
This is a good one to talk about. This is a fun one to talk about.
And that's great. I love being able to come on and just like fucking be so happy about what we're talking about instead of sitting here and being like, oh, this fucking movie.
Even Anthony is positive this time on things. Surprising.
No, it literally is like, it's a lot more fun to be more positive about these things. Like people think that like it's fun to hate on things. It is fun.
We don't want to,
but I don't want to hate on it.
Yeah, it's. I don't go starting off like, man, I can't wait to just make fun of this thing. Like, I mean, when I do it, it's like, I'm making fun of it because it deserves it, but like I don't want it to.
Right.
I want all these things to succeed.
And there's also like I'm making fun of it because I'm actually kind of frustrated. And
we do it.
I wanted this to be good.
We do it because we love. Right. We love it. So let's discuss the post credit scenes, which are again
you can like tie this into like
and
Easter
cameos
eggs.
and Easter eggs, absolutely. And there's still tons to discuss here. Unprecedented 5 post-credit scenes.
Well, that's just James Gunn being like, I know you're going to stick around, so I'm going to throw as much shit in here as
believe
possible.
me, it felt like the movie was the entire credit scene. Like, nobody left. And it was actually a pretty good way to get you to sit through the credits. Never mind that the design of the credits themselves, spectacular. Scrolling up like the back of a vinyl record and the little animations. And you saw the Grandmaster. You see Goldblum in there. You see all the characters dancing and being someone that you don't see in the movie. Like you see Nebula dancing at Gamora. Like you never see that.
Right.
And it fucking worked. And even, did you notice that some of the credits said, I am Groot? And then they would flicker and turn into the actual credit.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
That was really fun. So the first one was almost like, I wasn't sure. I was like, is this a post-credit scene? Because it started immediately. It was almost like part of the movie, which is Kraglin, Sean Gunn's character, practicing with the Yondu's arrow, trying to get it to fly around, and then it goes and hits Drax hilariously, and then he just kind of backs away slowly.
Stabs him in the neck.
And then he's just like, oh, walks away, back away slowly. I hope he...
you want Kraglin to join
I want Kraglin to join the Guardians to pick up the mantle of the arrow.
What I hope it will be is something like Kraglin doesn't show up in like the third Guardians movie or whatever it is, but winds up being the Deus Ex Machina that saves their asses near the end.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, he's not going to be like a father figure. Like,
well, he's he's the another son to Yondu.
Yeah.
So
they're like brothers.
It's like he and Peter have like a brother relationship.
That's fucking fantastic. Then we get the scene with Stallone.
I'll say this about the Stallone scene before you get into it.
Yeah.
If you're a casual fan, you're probably like, why the fuck was Stallone even in this movie?
And Ving Rhames. Like, I was like, wait, is that Ving Rhames?
Oh,
and not even a casual. You have to be like super hardcore.
Oh, this one you got to be a hardcore. So, listener,
this one,
it's a deep cut, man.
Almost, I was gonna say this one almost flew over my head until, like, legitimately the last second of the scene. I was like, oh shit, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So this scene, Stakar Ogar tells his fellow Ravagers that Yandu's death taught him life is too short to hold on to grudges and baggage, that they should put differences aside, reunite for old time's sake. This is the
and steal shit.
And steal shit. He's like, all right, let's go steal some shit. This is the 1975 Guardians of the Galaxy team from the comics, which varies a little bit from the original 1969 team. And the people he's talking to, they're all part of the 1975 roster, or they're important to the Guardians universe. Yondu was also a member of that team initially, The 1975 characters first appear in Giant Size Defenders number 5, written by Roy Thomas, drawn by Gene Colan. This group includes Yondu, Martin X, who was the Iceman looking guy, who's I think was played by Michael Rosenbaum, which you could not tell, of course.
Of course.
Charlie 27, that was Ving Rhames' character.
Who I was like, I just laughed because I was like, Ving Rhames.
I was like, the fuck is Ving Rhames doing in this movie? Stockar, Stallone, and Alita Ogard, who's played by Michelle Yeoh. And they also have a little red creature named Krugar, which is actually a Easter egg. He relates to Doctor Strange. In the comics, future Doctor Strange trains Krugar to be
the new Sorcerer
a Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah. And then Mainframe, which is the little robot head, which is voiced by Miley Cyrus, meaning Miley Cyrus is now officially a part of the MCU.
Oh, shit.
That was crazy. And I didn't know who that was, and I was like, I bet that's the original team. And
Stockar is Starhawk in the comics.
Yes, he's also known as Starhawk. So that's pretty cool. Like maybe they could spin this off.
I don't think we'll see those characters in Infinity War, but part 3.
Yeah.
You'll definitely see those.
They'll play some role in the next one.
The next scene we get is
the next one is the biggest one out of all.
Okay, it's it's Aisha, the Sovereign,
the biggest post-credit scene
after being humiliated, defeated. These people are supposed to be perfect, but they're just judgmental douchebags. Like Rocket said, she's working on something. She tells one of her handmaidens she's figured out a way to make a more perfect being than herself. And they show a shot of a thing, and she goes, I call him Adam. And one guy in my theater, one guy in front goes, yes! Like one guy. Everyone else, the girl next to me, she's like, who's Adam?
Oh, I had go ahead.
I had people do the same thing where like the moment she says I call him Adam, my response was, oh, that's awesome. They're actually going to bring in Adam Warlock. And my buddy Nick goes, who's Adam Warlock? I was like, too much for right now.
It's a lot.
I literally was like, oh, fuck, Adam Warlock. And literally my friend next was like, what are you talking
about?
So
I don't know how much they can take this Adam. You know, he was rumored to be in this movie, but then Gunn is like...
the first Guardians had the cocoon in the collector's...
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense.
No, but that
wasn't him.
That wasn't him. Gunn was just like, I was just fucking with people.
But he clearly wants Adam Warlock in this. So he
wanted Adam Warlock in this film.
Yeah.
Well, the best part was they wanted Adam Warlock in this film because they wanted to explain how he was going to come about, but also because Adam Warlock is heavily connected to the Soul Gem.
Right. Yes, he in the comic books he is created by people, and he is one of Thanos' adversaries. He's in Infinity Gauntlet storyline, and I'm wondering. I don't know. I don't think he'll also show up in the first Infinity War.
I don't think there's enough character work there to make
not yet
Infinity War.
Possibly the second one, if that ends Thanos and changes things at the end.
They'll have to establish a little bit more of him, possibly in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
but they would most likely do the heavy lifting of explaining him in the first Infinity War. I have a feeling the fact that they say the second Avengers movie title is apparently a spoiler in and of itself.
Possibly Infinity Gauntlet, but is that really a spoiler?
I'm wondering if it's tied to Warlock.
So James Gunn has said that Warlock is not in Infinity War, but he's promised that Warlock will eventually be a major part of Marvel's cinematic cosmic universe, and I could see him taking a big role moving forward past Phase 4, tying a lot of these space movies and giant threats together. It's very exciting. But the fourth post-credit scene is Groot's growing up, people. I was like, are we going to see Baby Groot the whole time? And they gave us Teenage Groot, which was fucking hilarious because he's sitting there on his bed playing video games, and he calls Peter Quill boring. He goes, I'm not boring. You know what's boring? These branches. Why don't you pick up these branches?
Clean up your room.
And then the best I Am Groot, where you clearly get the context that he's mocking what Peter Quill just said.
Oh, yeah. He's just like, I'm Groot.
Yeah.
I'm Groot.
Yes, I'm not boring. I am Groot.
And you're like, I get that. It's so great because you know exactly what he said without having to say anything. It was fucking hilarious.
Teenage Groot in part 3 would be awesome.
The question that one of my friends asked afterwards was, there were leaves all over the bed. Are we to believe that he's been masturbating?
He's been Groot masturbating. Oh my God, there's like stiff leaves and plants, just like Peter Quill's like, why is this leaf thick? Oh, so like what I want them to do is, like we said in Infinity War, it's going to be 4 years later.
I would like to have him also having like random like branches growing out of his face to imply that he has a ton of acne.
Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, just little buds
that just come out, and he's like just annoyed, be like, what is this? Yeah. And maybe his voice breaks. Like he's like, I am Groot. I am Groot. He starts to change.
That'd be hilarious.
But in Infinity War, I want to see full-grown Groot again.
Okay, you probably will.
And we are supposed
to. And in Guardians 3, go back and give me teenage Groot. Man. Or are they trying to bridge the fact that when we see these people next, time's already passing?
They will probably go with full-grown.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like 5 years later. Or 4 years later, whatever it's going to be full-grown Groot again.
So,
and I have a feeling Guardians 3 probably won't take place between 2.
Yeah, probably not.
Infinity
So if you extrapolate the time from when he was a baby to when he was a sapling to baby to teenage, he clearly ages quicker than you normally would think.
Right. So
by that time, he might be like old man Groot in fucking 4 years.
Who knows?
You know. And then the last post-credit scene...
I'll say this is another genius, though, of Marvel, is playing with his age to make the character not stale.
Yes.
If I am Groot in regular form, will get stale.
You know, and that, it was repetitive, but here's something new they gave us. They refreshed him. Yeah. It's a fucking brilliant move. At first, when the first movie ended, I was like, oh my God, they de-Grooted Groot. That's crazy. Where is this guy? And it's fucking beautiful. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So all faith in James Gunn. What are you doing? Keep doing it. The last post-credit scene ties into the Stan Lee cameo from the middle of the movie during the time when Rocket and Yondu are doing the 700 jumps. This is such a fucking great scene. You see Stan Lee in an astronaut costume sitting on a rock talking to none other than motherfucking Watchers. We see Uatu.
Well, I don't know if it is. It might probably is. I literally in the theater when they zoomed past, I was like, the Watcher!
Yeah! Like, oh shit!
Geekerific!
So,
now the question is, a lot of people are wondering, does this confirm the fan theory that Lee's character is a Watcher himself?
No.
Or is it just that the Watchers are talking to him?
I think he's their informant. He's talking about when he was a FedEx delivery person in Civil War. I think this does, and I think James Gunn has said that this confirms that Stan Lee is the same character in all the cameos. But he hasn't said whether he's a Watcher or he said he's an informant.
I think it's cool either way.
I think the other question then is, if he's talking about the event of Civil War, does that mean when they're jumping, they're technically jumping through time too?
Yeah,
because this is supposed to be before.
Oh shit! That's a good point.
That'll make your head hurt.
Oh shit! That's a good point. No, that's out of space. That's its own space-time continuum. The way I kind of see it in the large picture is these stories that we are watching are being told by the Watchers who have been informed by this cosmic Stan Lee character. Ultimately, that's the big picture.
Which means, again, all of Marvel is being created by Stan Lee.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
It's actually really
That's
good.
pretty clever. Look, the man is 200 years old.
94.
So that could be maybe his last cameo.
Was this the last one?
I mean, I really enjoyed his cameo.
As far as I heard, there were claims that they had filmed a whole bunch of them for him already for fear that he may pass away.
Okay, that's smart. So moving forward, we'll probably get more little cameos.
But this is a very clever way to just if this is it, this is to put the bow on Stan Lee.
Yeah.
It would be this would be where to leave it off if they had to.
So do
you think he's the Watcher? Do you think he's a Watcher, Delhar?
That's the thing is, I don't know. I want him to be absolutely, but they didn't build it in a way where if he's talking to the Watchers, don't the Watchers why would he be telling them the story? Wouldn't they know?
Or do
it?
they only know because he's telling them everything that's happened? I love it. He's like, "You're my ride home. Where you going?"
The thing about the Watcher, the other cool thing about it, or that when this was happening, when I first saw the Watcher, I was like, as a comic book fan, I'm like, the Watcher only shows up when important things are happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, this movie, immediately, as a comic book nerd,
it gave it a little more weight.
It validated the film. I'm like, this is important.
And I also, funny enough, thinking about that, I've thought for a while I would love to have an instance in Marvel Comics where just before something happens, maybe for something like Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the Watchers shows up and a character sees them and just immediately goes, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it's never good when the Watcher shows up. That's
important.
For sure.
It means it's important.
But it's clearly also, it's telling us, look, Stan Lee, he's got more stories to tell. Despite, 2016, he made his last New York Comic Con appearance. I don't think he's making appearances.
Dude's 94.
He's old. He's
old as shit.
He has earned every right to not do anything.
Yes. But, just, it made me so happy the amount of touches and nods to the comics that Gunn was able to put into this. Howard the Duck
showed up a couple.
I love what was that line? He goes, "You never out of luck once you go duck."
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome.
And the fact that it's Seth Green again
Seth
voicing
Green,
him.
Voicing Howard the Duck. You see Cosmo the dog in the credits briefly. We mentioned you see Grandmaster in credits. We mentioned the Hasselhoff because he's on the fucking disco track where he raps.
And he shows up in the movie.
I was not expecting that. I was
Ego
like,
transforms
for like a split second, and then he comes back.
Yeah.
He's like, Yondu was my Hasselhoff.
The question I have is, I do remember them saying that there was going to be a role Rob Zombie was going to voice because he's good friends with Gunn.
Oh shit!
Does anyone know what role that was?
Was it,
or was it even there anymore?
Even there? We can check the full cast here. But I mean, I could see Zombie playing like one of those Ravagers.
I thought he was one of the Ravagers.
Oh shit! Rob Zombie credited as Unseen Ravager.
Oh shit!
Get the fuck out of here! Huh?
Oh, you know what? I bet you he was going to be one of the captains during the funeral or something.
Yeah, he might have got cut too. There's a lot of things
if
they
he's
cut.
an Unseen Ravager, that means he never made it on screen.
That means he was left on the editing room floor. But even to have Rob Zombie, that's so great. Like all these worlds he's tying together. I loved another Easter egg that we got to see the eagle face, planet face.
Yeah.
For a second, and I was wondering if they were going to do that, and they showed it as clouds, and it worked way better than Parallax ever did in fucking Green Lantern. That I was like, yeah, we see the face of the planet, and it's him. And then the planet Contraxia that they're on, Delhauer, this kind of relates to something you did that we're going to talk about later, is actually home of the Jack of Hearts. He's half Contraxian.
That's the one that they crash land on, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so, in the beginning. Or is it I love the prostitute robot planet. That was a great planet.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that planet.
Planet was great. All the fucking robot hookers.
Robot hookers and snow.
And snow is awesome. Check this out. Today I saw on James Gunn on his Twitter, he's answering spoiler-free questions from fans like right now about making of the movie. And there's some really interesting, cool bits in here. Let's start with, it starts right here. Someone asked, are you already writing volume 3? He says yes. Someone asked, is Groot and Baby Groot the same person, or is Baby Groot kind of his son? His answer, Baby Groot does not have Groot's memories.
Oh, wow.
So once destroyed and recreated, it's all fresh again.
Fresh Groot.
That's interesting. I did not know that. Was Baby Groot's dance at the beginning of Volume 2 the same moves as Peter at the beginning of Volume 1? Check this out. James Gunn says, no, that was Chris Pratt dancing. Baby Groot is me dancing. Fucking James Gunn did the mocap for the opening sequence for Baby Groot. It's fucking great.
And when you got the money, why not?
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to do this.
I'll be in the movie, sure.
Someone asked him, do you write the music into the script for scenes, or is the music chosen after the entire script is written? He says, I write the music into the treatment. I give the Marvel guys a CD, old school, along with the initial story, showing how important it is that he's thinking about this.
He should give them a mix.
He should give them a cassette. Yeah, like find something to play.
Find a way to listen to it.
Find a way to play this, you motherfuckers. Somebody, like we said, the colors in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 are spectacularly used. Is that a scripted decision or something you chose to edit later? This is cool. He says, I make a color timeline with swatches after I write the script, same time as storyboarding. So not only he's got the storyboards, he's got this scene is this color palette. This scene, like just
crazy.
Amazing attention to detail.
That is nerdy.
It's so nerdy and it works so good. This tweet is unavailable, but his answer is Volume 3 will be the final part of the trilogy and conclude the story of this iteration of the Guardians. Is this team
where they will wind up on a teddy bear planet, and you will find out that Gamora is Peter's sister,
and Ted is really Peter Quill's father. But does that mean that this team will be disbanded after that, or will that new team, will they work that in? I don't know.
Who knows?
I
think that's enough for the James Gunn.
I think that was it. I thought he's had a lot of cool, interesting bits. He was just giving out on the Twitters.
That's cool, though.
Yeah. Good for James Gunn. That's any final thoughts on this? A great entry into the MCU.
I've exhausted everything I could talk about in this film.
Yeah, we hit, I think, everything.
Great space movie. Can't wait to see Spider-Man.
It's not even. I mean, it's a space movie. But it's not. Really it's It's about parenting and fatherhood.
It's a movie in space.
Just happens to take place in space about a bunch of fun people. Yeah, I think.
Oh no, I do remember the one last thing.
Let's go.
Finish it up.
I did make a reference to myself during Yondu's death of the funeral for Spock in Wrath of
Oh, okay. That's pretty nerdy. That was you probably, you know what's interesting? Okay, we'll wrap this up with this. There was another article on Collider kind of accusing the first movie of being overrated. The fact that it's pretty much the show Farscape. And he's not wrong. The show Farscape is almost exactly the same thing. Out of place Earth guy. There's a big muscly dude who's just deadpan. There's a little alien creature who's snarky. The Earth guy falls in love with a hard-nosed alien woman. But Gunn has said he was influenced by Farscape and Star Trek. Were two, and so he had that in mind, and of course it's influenced his
anything that gets made and everyone likes eventually becomes called overrated.
Yeah,
it's stupid
because people are dumb.
Because apparently liking things is not cool now.
Yeah, I can't fucking pay homage to something with this. Okay, so let's move on to. I got a little segment called Stuff to Check Out. I want to promote a couple of things. I have some fun audio to share. This part's fun. It's going to be like a late night talk show with Delhauer as our guest. Man, Delhauer, you were recently thanks for coming on the show. You were recently cast as none other than Captain America in the Cape Swoosh production of the great Avengers Disassembled storyline. Tell us, he sent over a clip. Why don't you set up this clip for us, Matt, and we'll take a dive into Avengers Disassembled.
Do we have a clip? Yeah. So, it's funny. I don't even know where to actually start because I didn't prepare for trying to sell this thing. But anyone that doesn't know, every time I come on, I try and help promote the Cape Swoosh Productions group that I'm a part of, which is me and several of my friends putting together audio dramas based on great comic book stories that we love.
It's awesome.
And so far, we have been lucky enough to not have Marvel try and sue us.
Yeah.
Because we don't make money on it, and because we're not nearly popular enough for anyone to have brought it to their attention.
I like what you guys are doing because it's like a geeky comic book version of Audible.com.
Yeah, it's radio drama like they used to do on radios back in like the 1930s with The Shadow and all that kind of stuff. So it's the newest one that we had just come out back last Sunday is Avengers Disassembled, which is a amazing story that Brian Michael Bendis did a few years ago. That is basically one bad day in the life of the Avengers that leads to the destruction of the team, essentially.
This is Bendis' first crack at Avengers, I believe.
This was Bendis saying that if he was going to do Avengers, he was going to fucking ruin their lives.
And it's basically, it's Dr. Doom fucking things up for everyone in this, isn't it?
No.
Well,
no.
Way to be prepared, Imran.
Yeah.
So because Imran didn't listen to it, doesn't know what's going on, I will talk
No,
to
I
him.
mean the story, the story of Disassembled.
No, the story,
itself.
there is no Dr. Doom in it.
In Disassembled?
In Disassembled,
Really?
there is
Are
none.
you sure?
Yes.
I read up on this and it was all Doom.
I was in it, Imran.
Look, it was Doom sending all these people and causing all this, I thought.
No.
Well, who was the bad guy?
Well, great. You want me to just give away the story so no one goes to actually listen to it? What's wrong with you? How dare you?
Keep going, Delhauer. I love when Imran looks like an ass.
Yeah, me too. No, so the story is that it starts off with the death of Scott Lang, Ant-Man.
Okay.
Because of Jack Hart, who we had talked about, the Jack of Hearts, returning from space when everyone thought he was dead and blowing up Avengers Mansion. It is then the rest of the team trying to figure out what is going on and why this has happened, and it seems that there is somebody pulling the strings in the background. It is not Dr. Doom, but it may be somebody that they are closer to.
Whoa.
Is all I'm gonna say.
Okay, so look, I got a nice clip. And it's like 2.5 minutes long, but it gives you a great sample of the production. So let's settle in and take a little trip to Avengers Disassembled here.
There's a lot to do here. Just tell me where it hurts. You talk to this man as if you're speaking to me. As far as I'm concerned, this man is an Avenger. Yes, sir. Captain America, sir. Jarvis, what happened?
It would appear, sir, that we have experienced a tragedy which words cannot properly describe. Master Scott Lang has died, sir, in a most terrible way. Someone must call his young daughter.
Cap, can I interrupt you for a second? What is it, Falcon? Who is that flying in right now?
It's a Quinjet. It's one of ours. The whole team's been called in.
It's coming in pretty fast.
Yeah, wait. Isn't that Vision?
Guys, he's not slowing down. He's flying straight... Everyone down! Is everyone all right?
Yeah, for now. Cap, what's Vision doing?
Looks like he's about to tell us himself.
Avengers, I bid you tidings in this, our darkest hour. I'm sorry to inform you that I am no longer in control of the organisms that make up my body structure, and that you are no longer in control of anything that we, as a group, held dear, or what we, as individuals, held as important. Our time is over. I cannot explain to you in terms that any of you would understand why and how this has happened to us. For I am only now beginning to comprehend where it is that we, as a group, have failed, and why we are about to be punished.
Vision, what happened? Just tell us what is
happening. Do know that, though this will seem a betrayal for me, it is not I who brings this plague upon you. Do know that I feel an overwhelming shame for what now must... I am sorry. Tell Wanda. It will be okay.
Does anyone have any ideas on what that orb he just threw up is going to do?
I have one idea, but no one is going to like it.
Avengers, fall back!
They're morphing. I don't like that they're morphing.
I think it gets worse.
Ultron systems. Ultron systems. Active.
Oh,
Yep,
Ultron bots.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Wow, we've been talking to Captain America this whole time, Anthony.
Oh, that's really good.
I love the production. The
production is off the chain.
The sound effects and the music in the background, very well done. Delhauer, how do you guys record this? Are you all in the same place, or do you just do your part?
So it's depending on the day and what we can do. Jeremy, who is one of the founders of the group, he was the one who directed and did this one. He put a year's worth of work into the sound effects and editing and everything like that. So this is like his magnum opus. What we usually do is, depending on everyone's schedule, we try to get everyone together into a group to do recording together.
Okay.
I actually wound up doing all of my parts on my own because I was out in PA.
Okay.
So I came in for a day, recorded with them, and left. And you could kind of hear it in the fact that I don't sound like I'm actually reacting to anybody. I'm just talking.
It works though.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. So this is one that we're all really proud of. And then next month, Rob, who is the other founder of the group, put together Batman's Long Halloween.
Oh, cool.
So that's going to be coming out. I'm excited for that one because I got to play the Joker.
Oh, fun.
A shit ton.
Oh, shit. I can't wait to listen to that one. Listener, look, definitely go. I'll put a link in the show notes, shotgunner.com/165. Play it, share it, get it out there, get this thing so the views it deserves. It's great. It's a comic book audible.
So is it just audio?
It's just audio.
And it's on
It's all audio.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah. We're trying to get it into more places. They want to put an RSS.
Yeah, why don't you have a
podcast and everything?
That's very easy.
I think
way.
a podcast would be the best.
Yeah.
Next evolution of this.
I implore the listeners, get us sued. Because then at least it means we did something right.
So regarding that.
No, please, no, don't do that.
Why would Marvel look, you're not making money out of it. There's nothing visual. You're pretty much just reading shit and putting music on there. I don't know.
They
have a leg to stand on, probably.
Copyright law is weird, nobody knows it, and they use that to their advantage.
Right.
But I think if they wanted to, they could probably try and tell us to cease and desist. But at the same time, we're small time. Like you said, we're not selling their images. We're not selling anything that really is just us claiming we are a character.
Right.
So I think if anyone was going to have a problem with it, it would be the authors, and comics creators are some of the coolest people in the world. It's usually just the actual corporate entity that tends to be a dick about stuff.
Disney, don't be a dick. Let these people do it. But look, I think a podcast would be. I would love to hear a podcast with all your content, and then in between, like the making of these things. You know, you guys going through behind the scenes in the podcast episodes, talking about how you picked these things, how you set it up. I think it would be a very interesting show.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're trying to get the Geek Chorus show that we used to do with How Do I Jump back up and going. And I know one of the big things I want to try and do with that is looking more into Cape Swoosh and talking to them about a lot of stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Right on. Check it out. I got another sample of a show I want to share to get you guys turned on to the show.
Another, 5 minutes?
No, this one's a minute.
Oh, good.
It's not as long. And it's Trivia Geeks podcast. Adam Morris started listening because I was talking about it. He loves the show. Rug Boy's been on the show. Dalhauer's been on the show. It hasn't come out yet, but it will. But basically, listener, I'm a host of a Trivia Geeks podcast. Every week it's live on Wednesdays, and it's a hilariously geeky podcast where you don't really have to know the answers to anything. I certainly don't, but I'm going to play a clip from our most recently show that came out with Scott Meridew was on.
Oh, nice.
And so this is how unpredictable and just wacky that I never know what's going to happen when we start these shows. So they had an issue with the booking system. They booked too many people. We already had 2 guests and the 2 captains, and Scott was on. So what we did, Scott stayed up till like 3 a.m.
Oh my God.
So what I did was Scott was my wingman for hosting, and I just invented a segment called Ask a Brit, where each round, each team, if they wanted to, they could ask a Brit what he thinks about the question. It's hilarious. You have to listen. So I'm going to play a clip from a round. We were playing Google Family Feud. You ever played that on Google? Where you got to find the top answer?
Oh, no.
So you know how Family Feud is?
Yeah.
Give the top answer. So on Google, you can go on and play this game. They'll give you selections. Be like, what's the number 1 answer to this sentence? So here's one question, one round with Ask a Brit from the most recent Trivia Geeks episode, season 3, episode 11. Here we go. Here's a very common phrase. Number 1 answer. I was bitten by a blank. Is it A, dog, B, human, C, turtle, D, spider?
It's got to be dog or spider. Dog or spider, I'm thinking too. I don't know. I want to ask the Brit on this one. Yeah, sure. Let's ask the Brit.
I love asking the Brit Meridew. What do you think? I was bitten by a blank. Is it dog, a human, turtle, or spider?
Well, the question we first have to ask ourselves is, are we dealing with like an actual turtle or what Americans think a turtle is, which is a tortoise?
Oh, it's just like the football thing with you Brits with the turtle and the tortoise. You know
Turtles are in the sea, tortoises are on the land.
Listen, nobody cares.
Yeah,
you know what a turtle is.
Oh, wait, you don't know because we won the war.
Oh, snap. Shit.
But if you want my actual answer, I think... Well, if you get bitten by a dog, that's a traumatic incident, but you're not really going to go on the internet and talk about it. Spider bite, similar. However, you get bitten by a human, you are going to want to research that. Am I going to be a zombie now? What's happening to me? Someone please help. They drew blood. They have a taste for human flesh. Oh God, is this the end times? Quick, we must go to the bunker.
Yeah, Walking Dead is the highest rated show on the television right now. I see your reasoning. It's very interesting. Well, there's your Brit, guys. What do you think?
All right, Jeff, I'm thinking I like his reasoning, but I like the answer spider better because people get bit by spiders all the time when they're sleeping. They have a little bite, a little bump on their arm.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I would agree with spider.
All right. We'll go, as they say on Ninja Warrior, a spider wookie.
Show me spider. I'm sorry. To find out what the answer is, listener, you're going to have to go listen to the show.
That's actually really good.
Isn't that fun? Meridew was hilarious.
I wish that was a common thing on that show.
He might need to be on that show.
Well, that's what we said initially. Carrie even said that. She's like, oh, crap, we might have to get him. But that means he would have to stay up till 3 a.m. every Wednesday night.
Who cares about what he thinks?
Yeah, who cares?
You just need his voice.
Isn't he? I love fucking Meridew. We got to get that back on the show. Yeah. He's like a geeky John Oliver. I love it. So check out Trivia Geeks. Link in the show notes. All the shows that I host there are fun just like that. It's so wacky. You never know what's going to happen. Finally, got an email.
These days, maybe I'll get on this show.
You can get on. Kate and Patrick from See Here's the Thing, they're coming back on next week. They were already on. They had so much fun. They want to come back on. Anything you should get on, I think we should do a version here. We should get the whole Jock and Nerd crew.
We don't need to ape their thing. But
we'll get them to come over here and do it, or we go there. We'll do a whole Jock and Nerd version.
I'll go on there. I'll try out.
I know Malofsky.
I know a lot of things about random shit. So.
Yeah. I know Malofsky and Delhauer still want to go at it, or Malofsky wants to call us out. But Scott was a fucking great addition. Go check that out. Last thing, I got an email from a listener. And it's a hilarious email, and he brings up a good point.
No, not that email, dude. Not the RedTube email.
Oh, no, not that one. Sorry, I'm deleting RedTube. Yeah. I don't know what that site is. I've never been there.
Womp.
It's not bookmarked on my phone in an incognito browser.
Oh, shit.
Here's the email he got. Really enjoying the show. Just listen to a third podcast and already feel the need to send you support money to keep you in comic books and pharmaceutical cocaine. Which is quite the feat, since Hourglass has been pleading with me to send NPR money for 2 decades, and I'm always like, hey, get a job, you piece of shit. However, I didn't immediately find a support button or how to donate on your site. Though in truth, maybe I didn't look as hard as I should have, since I'm aware these moments of generosity are usually fleeting with me whenever I get the urge to give away my hard-earned money. Like when the commercial with Sarah McLachlan singing in the background comes on at 2:13 a.m., and there's a fucking 3-legged dog staring at me, begging me to either hand feed it a cheeseburger or stick a needle in its ass, and I impulsively send $100. 10 minutes later, I feel like I got owned. But unlike supporting a dog who probably never did much of anything to apply himself and turn his life around, you guys make me laugh and have already earned a place in my heart. I want to stick around for a while, so please tell me how to do this through your site. Sincerely, John Seifert, Niagara Falls, New York. P.S. May I suggest that when you next ask for support on your podcast, have Sarah McLachlan singing behind your pitch, as this obviously seems to work on people with low aptitude, such as myself. I may cut in a little Sarah McLachlan underneath this in post.
You're going to have to now.
And thank you.
It's got to be Arms of the Angels.
That song. That's the fucking song that gets you.
That's the one that they do for like the ASPCA
yes. Who's the one
commercials.
that gets you every time?
I will remember.
That may be the Sally Struthers.
Yeah.
Relief for...
I remember you. I don't think
with the
Sarah
kids?
McLachlan. I don't know which one that is.
Anyways, those songs work.
Those songs do make you real fucking sad.
Also, thanks, John, for sending the pronunciation of his last name. Clearly, he is a listener and already knows that I can't pronounce shit until you tell me how to say it.
You can't pronounce shit.
I can't. I didn't even pronounce shit right.
You didn't
just
pronounce right.
I didn't pronounce right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but John, look, to his question, so... on the website, I made it a little more obvious. It's in every show notes. The link.
You got to make it like a button on the website.
There is a main button now, and so maybe we got a little bit too cute with join the fan club and not be. So now it says, "Did we make you laugh? Want to send us money? Click here." Yeah. It's real big on the front page.
That works.
That's whatever we say, fan club, Patreon. That's what we mean.
That's why Delhauer never donated.
It may have been confusing.
I was lazy and confused.
I was trying to help you. God damn it!
That's how I wake up every morning, lazy, confused, and white.
Oh shit!
Even though I'm brown on the inside.
You are brown as fuck.
I'm brown on the inside. So, John, thanks for listening. Thanks for finding us. Just visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon, and it's bigger on the site. It's in the show notes. Give us whatever money you want. You can give us all your money. I don't care. If you want to send us all your money,
give us all your money.
Give us all your money.
Give it to me, dude.
$5 for every laugh? It seems like a fair.
Yeah, it seems fair.
Fair trade. Delhauer, man, thanks for joining us on this episode. We had a great time geeking out over.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tell the listener where they can find you, what you're up to.
Oh, the listener can find me on Twitter. I'm not yelling at Dan Slott as much as Rug Boy would be.
Okay.
But I'm at Matt Delhauer. They can find me at Cape Swish Productions. We have several different videos available on their YouTube channel, which is youtube.com. I think it's just /Cape Swish, or you can search for it in there. We should be the first thing that comes up. If we're not, then what the hell? We have a Guardians of the Galaxy one that we did. I voiced Drax for it.
Nice.
A few others, Giant Size X-Men.
Oh, can we hear your Drax voice real quick?
I don't know if I had any lines, but it was legitimately just me being like, this ship dies wonderfully! Stuff like that.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I think I did actually do the laugh. I didn't do Batista's laugh.
Oh, okay.
Mine was more of like a ha-ha instead of like my version of Drax really is just tickled pink by murder.
Yeah, okay. He's joyous in his killing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Giant Size X-Men. We did there was something that they did before I was working with them. They did a version of The Killing Joke. They did Kingdom Come,
yeah,
which is also very well done. That's another one where it's long, but they put a lot of work into.
That's a deep one. That's a deep book to even read, man.
Oh yeah. But so they can find me there, and then as time goes on, within the next few months, as summer goes on, I can officially say, as I've already mentioned before, that Geek Chorus will be coming back in its third rendition, and it will be hosted by myself.
Awesome.
I will be trying to find people to have on to have discussions about comic books. I'm doing everything in my power to see if I can get actual creators to come on and talk to us as well.
Nice.
And just kind of build something that's accessible, fun, but also does some of the deep cuts into comics lore and creation and everything like that.
So basically what you're going to do is you're just using our show to ape our fucking audience and then compete with us.
I will compete with you
we're not competing.
every week.
We don't, no, podcasts don't compete.
No, I'm going to leave. I was going to say, what the fuck happens is still strictly going to be with you guys. I'm not going to go taking that with me.
What you should do is release it the same day we do and just make it like the old like WWE, WCW.
make it the Monday Night Wars all over again.
Yeah, and then we just steal talent from one another.
Listen, that's what I was going to say. You know where to find us if you ever need some guests. There's plenty of podcasting space for all geek shows.
Delhauer like takes the Jock and Nerd belt and then like goes on his show and just throws it in the garbage.
I was gonna say, steal Rug Boy from you guys. Offer to actually pay him.
I can't do any wrestling.
Imran, you're gonna have to shave your head, put on some black trunks, and we're gonna make you Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're gonna turn this shit around.
Oh no!
You're gonna have to start
Can I be
beer.
the Iron Sheik instead? That's more my like Middle Eastern.
Yeah, but then we'll have to hit the Attitude Era where everything is like, this guy's sleeping with this guy's wife now.
Yeah.
I put him in the camel clutch.
We're gonna have women on the show like threaten to expose their boobs on an audio podcast.
What is the show turned into? I'm looking forward to all that. Your voice acting talents are awesome.
You need your own stuff, man. You need to
definitely. I'm so glad you're getting your own show. That's very exciting. It would just everyone as friends would grow. It's kind of like we network with each other. Yeah. Listener, thanks for listening. Subscribe, leave us a rating and reviewing. But the most important thing. Tell a friend. Spread the show. Did you know in the new iOS app, if you have updated your phone, you can actually text episodes of podcasts from the Apple Podcast app to people?
That doesn't surprise me.
That's awesome. So, listener,
you can cast bomb them.
You can cast bomb. I want every listener to just send one person our show this week. Text them our show. Be like, hey, listen to this.
I mean, we were on the Huffington Post. We deserve.
We were on the Huff
we
Post.
Deserve your attention.
It's called the Huff Post now.
That's true.
It's legit liberal fake news media. We are part of the machine.
Yeah.
So do us a favor, share the show via text messages, and they won't have any chance but to press play because they'll be like, "What the fuck is this?
Play.
Oh, this is fun." Press play. Tell a friend. Thanks for listening. We appreciate every second you spend with us. Make sure you sign up to the fan club on Patreon because we are gonna get some awesome Las Vegas stories from Anthony right now, the minute the show ends. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll hear you next time.
Since I'm filling in for Rug Boy, I guess I should talk over the ending credits, huh?
Who cares? A Jock said that.